This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Partly cloudy and 16 today. With the 6 o'clock news, I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
There's been another stabbing in SA, this time at Greenacres. Emergency services were called to Weissel Street just before 8:30 last night, following reports of an altercation between two men and a woman. All three were taken to hospital, one with a stab wound to his back. Their injuries are not life-threatening. Border restrictions will be on the agenda when the State Transition Committee meets today. Police Commissioner Grant Stevens says they'll likely be relaxed with WA and the Northern Territory.
I'm sure that will be a great relief for people who are planning to get away during the school holidays, or people who might feel like they've been stuck in those state or territories over the last few days.
Opening to parts of Queensland will also be discussed after the state recorded just one case yesterday, but the New South Wales border will remain shut after a spike in cases there. Another global company is setting up shop in Adelaide. Numed Pharmaceuticals, which makes cold and flu tablets and painkillers, will base its first high-tech manufacturing facility down under in the northern suburbs. That means 40 million units of tablets, liquids and creams will be produced locally. An $85 million state-of-the-art complex will be built next to Parafield Airport. 250 jobs will come online during construction, with another 180 permanent positions moving forward. A new report is predicting the boom and bust professions in Australia over the next 5 years. Nine's Lauren Howarth has more.
The OECD's annual employment outlook predicts a surge in demand in Australia for IT employees, engineers and social workers in a post-pandemic world, while the shift towards remote working and changes in technology means office support staff will take a hit. Secretaries, switchboard operators and personal assistants are forecast to be among the 5 fastest declining occupations. Timber workers and mail sorters are also among the most vulnerable professions.
The cost of renting in Adelaide continues to rise. Rents jumped another $5 over the June quarter to a new record average of $430 a week, according to Domain. Adelaide has emerged as the most competitive capital city rental market in the country, on a par with Hobart. The United States has had a small victory in its extradition battle with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. The High Court in London has granted the US government permission to challenge a decision not to send Assange to the States to stand trial on espionage charges. A judge blocked Assange's extradition over fears about his mental health. Robert Downey Jr. has announced the death of his filmmaker father. Robert Downey Sr., who was also a part-time actor, was 85. He'd been battling Parkinson's. Now to FIVEaa Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fleurieu Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
And it is a very big good morning to Tom Wren.
And a big morning and good morning to you as well, Mel. We're going to start with some football. The teams are out for tonight's huge match between Port Adelaide and Melbourne. The Power bringing back Zach Butters and Tom Cleary for the match. Riley Bonner's been dropped while Kane Farrelly's out with a knee injury. The Crows will also name their side to take on Essendon tonight. Taylor Walker needs to get through today's captain's run to have a chance of playing after hurting his neck last week. Teammate Brodie Smith telling Timmy G he's looking better each day.
We were sort of thinking no hope at the start of the week, and the way he looked yesterday gave us a good chance of playing. So obviously, I guess with where we're at the moment, you probably won't risk a 50-50 call, but if he's feeling good, obviously he's so important to us, and he'll bring that leadership to the forward line that is crucial, and that inexperienced guys down there, so hopefully he plays.
To soccer, and there's about 15 minutes to play in the Euro semi-final between England and Denmark. Scores currently locked at 1-1. Denmark opened the scoring on the half-hour mark, but the English equalised just under 10 minutes later. Roger Federer has been knocked out of the Wimbledon quarterfinals in straight sets by Polish player Herbert Hurkacz. Novak Djokovic, though, breezed through his quarterfinal clash in straight sets. Paddy Mills and Kate Campbell will hold the Olympic flag for the Australians at the Tokyo Games in just around a fortnight's time. And the Wallabies have kicked a penalty goal after the final siren to beat France 23-21. That was in their first test in Brisbane. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Partly cloudy for your Thursday. We're heading for a top of 16. Tomorrow much the same and 15. Saturday mostly sunny and 17. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
FIVEaa Breakfast
With Amelia Mulcahy
and Mark Bickley. Good morning and welcome to the FIVEaa Breakfast Show. 5 minutes past 6. It's a bit of a crisp morning this morning, a bit cooler than what it was yesterday. I'm guessing there's no northerly...
It really wasn't. No, it's actually warmer than what it was yesterday.
Maybe it's that feels like... 8 feels like 4. It felt colder this morning anyway.
Who would you rather go through, Bix or the Bureau?
Good morning.
Meet in the middle.
Good morning, Amelia. I didn't even get my intro out before you shot me down. How's that? How am I going?
Incorrect. I'm not going to let you say something incorrect. I'm going well. How are you? You had a busy day yesterday, school holidays?
Yes. My wife Tori's had a couple of days off. She's generally working a little bit during the day. So we did the whale watching 2 days ago, and then yesterday we went down to the I think it's called the Alpine Village.
Alpine Winter Festival, yes.
Yes, down at Glenelg, and that is an awesome setup down there. Apart from the people sort of slipping over while they're ice skating.
Have you done much ice skating in your time?
No. And you might.
Did you need a penguin to hold on
to?
You
might find this hard to believe, but I'm not very good at ice skating.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, no. So I didn't actually attempt it because I got there just a little bit late. But the boys were great, and Tori's quite good. She's a bit of a ice skater. So that was a lot of fun, but it's more the surroundings.
It's really cool, isn't it?
There's a bar and there's food and there's activities.
There's a restaurant.
Yes, and it was really, really good. And I'm sure Friday and Saturday nights it's going to be even better because there'll be a crowd down there.
Were you there at night or were you there during the day?
During the day.
So at night they've got this awesome light show on the jetty that goes. It goes for pretty much hours, and it's awesome. It's just sort of sound and the lights sort of pick up as the music intensifies.
Okay.
It's really cool. So if you're in the area at night, make sure you check that out. Speaking of lights,
I was going to say that. Speaking of lights, I saw you last night at the Adelaide Zoo, the light creatures, part of the Illuminate Adelaide Festival.
It was really cool. We had a little sneak peek for 7 News weather, and we just saw, basically there are these huge, I guess you could call them creatures, and they're big light and sound installations dotted all throughout the zoo. It's like that you've never seen the zoo like this before, and you don't really get to see the zoo after dark either, unless you're, maybe a school group and you're doing one of those sleepovers that they do there. Other than that, they don't really do stuff at the zoo, overnight that involves the whole zoo.
Yep.
This involves most of the zoo. Do you know what was interesting though? I was talking to Elaine, the CEO, yesterday. And this has been months in the planning. They have had to slowly introduce the sounds and even the lights to the animals. Like where the pelican area is, everyone knows where the pelicans are. It's got this huge blue sort of tinge all around it. All the areas are lit up. And they had to gradually introduce it to the pelicans to see how they would react. Same with the sounds. They'd play certain soundtracks. Some animals wouldn't like that. And so, they'd change the sound a little bit.
Trying to sleep. What are all these people doing here? They're walking through my house at night.
It's quite funny, isn't it? Because you've got this huge light and sound display, and then there's just a wallaby jumping. It's brilliant. I've never seen I've never had a weather background like that. That's for sure.
It is an amazing canvas. Like one of the things I love about the zoo is the flora. Like it is so old. The zoo is over 100 years old, and there are trees in there that are 100 years old.
So established,
yeah. And I love that because I'm a bit of a sort of gardening person. So
many layers to you.
Whilst you're looking at the animals, there are these. The flamingo, that dragon's blood tree. That is the biggest example of that style of tree that I've ever seen. It's just enormous, and it was there when the zoo opened. It's just such a great.
Yeah,
thing.
it's a wonderful setting. So Light Creatures is on for the next month or so, and it's Thursday nights through till Sunday. A lot of the weekends have actually already sold out, so if you are interested in taking the kids, make sure you check that one out. But I think that'll be right up your kids' alley because, especially sort of primary school age kids will love that.
Yeah, 9 and 11, almost 12, which is going to be interesting.
Last time I took my daughter to the zoo, she's 2, she was more interested in the pigeons, so might need to wait a little bit at my end.
Just need a stale loaf of bread and just sit outside the zoo and you can say...
We're just going to the Torrens, love.
Interesting, just with that, you mentioned... some of the sophistication that's now happening around Adelaide with some of the Illuminate Adelaide and the stuff at Glenelg, I think it's just picked up a level, hasn't it? I reckon the last 3 or 4 years. There's just so many things going on.
And people want it. Like people, if you build it, they will come, and that's really happening. Was it busy at Alpine when you went?
It was, yeah.
Awesome.
It was really busy, and it was great. There were lots of obviously families at school holidays, but it's just Glenelg again. It's a reason to come down there. And once you get down there, there's so much other stuff to do. Like you say, you can walk out to the end of the jetty, you can go down Jetty Road and do some shopping or coffee or food or gelatissimo like we seem to do. It doesn't matter what time it is. You can always have ice cream, whether it's 11 o'clock in the morning.
I like that motto.
Get out and start doing stuff, particularly when the weather has been okay. So it was 17 and sunny yesterday. So it was,
it was a great afternoon yesterday and not a bad day today either, though we do have showers on the way. We'll talk to the Bureau later in the show. We've got a big show, of course. We're going to chat to the CEO of Master Builders Association about builders committing their workers to the COVID vaccine. And a lot of companies are coming up with ways to incentivise their staff to get the jab.
Yeah, it's interesting because we generally associate these sort of campaigns with government, don't we? And we saw Channel 9 do this about 3 weeks ago, where they had a big marketing campaign with a jazzy soundtrack and, all their stars getting the rolling their sleeve up. So I guess it's great that they take it upon themselves to say, let's get the ball rolling, let's start this, and if we start doing it, and it's the butterfly effect, it's things happen.
We've also got the Transport Minister on the show, Corey Wingard. We're looking forward to hearing from him because a number of transport issues have been, we've been talking about them all this week, affecting all the areas as well, whether it's south or hills or, northeastern suburbs with the park and ride in the paper today. So we've got quite a few questions for him. We're looking forward to hearing from him after 8 o'clock. Of course, if you've got a question for him, make sure you let us know.
Yeah, freeway congestion is going to be high on that agenda there when talking to Corey Wingard. And of course, there was there was an accident last night that pretty much brought the freeway to a standstill for people trying to get home, which is...
It doesn't seem hard these days to do that either. Be part of the conversation. We'd love to hear from you. There's people
that use the freeway who'll be nodding along to that. We're going to speak to a really great character. Of course, his name is Chester Osborne from Darrenberg Wines. They are having what has been described as a unicorn year.
Well, all growers are. They've just had the perfect setup last year with the timing of rain and nice conditions. And gee, they deserve it after bushfires and I guess they've lost the Chinese market given the regulations that they've put into place. So we can't wait to hear from him and the wine we can taste.
And it's great, isn't it? Because we're we produce over 50% of the nation's wine. So we are clearly the wine capital, the wine state, which is great. And to think that that's going well, that'll be pumping plenty of dollars into our economy. And the Aussie flag bearers were named last night. So we're going to speak to a great Olympian, Matt Shervington, to talk to us more about that.
He told them.
That's a nice honour, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they've got two, which is...
male and a female for the first time.
Rather unique. In actual fact, it mightn't be the first time.
Oh.
1980, when the Olympics were in Moscow. I know it was a boycotted year, but I think if you go back to the history books, we might see that there was two people that did it that time. I don't know. I might ask Matt that. I'd hate to be wrong, because it'd be the first time.
Well, no, it'd be like the time when you guessed what the overnight temperature was.
All right, we're going to take a break. As I said, we've got a massive show. It's 13 minutes past 6. Mark Bickley and Amelia Mulcahy doing breakfast for FIVEaa.
Finally, you can get back to the Lion. Get back to Slow Cook Sundays. Every Sunday, the Lion's Kitchen will be roasting up a storm with an ever-evolving selection of your favourites. Lamb, beef, pork with the best crackling in town. Head to lionhotel.com.au to find out what's new on the menu.
Back to the Lion.
Get back to Sundays, perfected with slow-cooked roasts. Get back to where you belong. The Lion, North Adelaide.
This July, a world premiere event. Eclipse. Pink Floyd orchestrated. Southern Cross Symphony and an ensemble of Australia's finest rock musicians reignite the awe-inspiring sound of Pink Floyd in all its glory. 40 musicians and singers perform all the hits, Us and Them, Comfortably Numb, and Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Saturday, July 17 at Festival Theatre. Book now at Bass.
Adelaide property values are at an all-time high. They grew by 5.9% in 2020 with really strong buyer demand. And in some areas, demand is greater than supply. Vendors are regularly getting multiple offers for homes with sold prices well above the expectations.
We know our friends at Toop and Toop work across all suburbs, and we can tell you right now they're working with 4,247 buyers in Maylands. Gosh, that one shocked me. 4,788 in Unley and 4,331 in Mile End. They're all searching for their perfect property in these specific locations.
Yes, if you're thinking of selling and would like to know how many buyers Toop and Toop are working with in your suburb, visit toop.com.au.
Hi, I'm Peter Berkowitz from Berkowitz Furniture. Our winter stocktake sale is on now, and you'll save up to 40%. Save on our comfortable leather and fabric sofas, sofa beds, recliners, dining tables, dining chairs, including our Australian-made collection. And you can customise to your heart's content. Be part of our massive winter stocktake sale and save up to 40%. Hurry, sale ends soon. We're not just a furniture store, we're an Aussie furniture family. In-store at Mile End Homemaker Centre and online.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Every time that you walk in the
FIVEaa Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning, 16 minutes past 6. Amelia Mulcahy, Mark Bickley. A couple of days to go, Amelia, before we hand the reins back to David and Will. We'll be back from holiday, so I'm sure they're refreshed, recharged and ready to go. But first of all, you got the news headlines.
I do. In some breaking news, Haiti's president, Jovenel Moïse, has been assassinated by a group of unidentified people who attacked his private home. The country's interim prime minister announced the news in a statement overnight. The First Lady has also reportedly been hospitalised. The nation has been in political turmoil, sparked by the leader announcing his term would last longer than expected in 2018. Basketball champion Paddy Mills will become the first Indigenous Australian to carry the flag into an Olympic Games opening ceremony when he marches alongside swimming star and fellow flag bearer Kate Campbell in Tokyo. The Tokyo Olympics mark the start of a new tradition, with every nation to be led out by both a female and male flag bearer. Both athletes are heading to their 4th Olympic Games. Here's Paddy Mills.
I'm looking forward to be able to share this moment with someone. You know, in the past experiences, so far it's been the lone soldier up the front. So, for us to be able to share that moment, I think is going to be very special.
Really special. And it was really exciting watching that announcement last night. We had it live in 7 News. And, yeah, the atmosphere there was electric. They were all sort of, being brought together, all the members of the Australian Olympic team by Zoom, a lot of them. But, gosh, it was exciting.
Yeah, it is just so great, and what an honour. And
I can't believe it's here. It's almost here.
Yeah, it's worthy for both those people. Paddy Mills, what a great Australian he is, and Kate Campbell. It's just awesome, isn't it? And you know what? There could have been 10 others, and we still would have loved them as well, because they all are so deserving. I just looked it up. Moscow 1980. Denise Robinson Boyd and Maxwell Metzger were the 2 flag bearers, and they had one hand each on the flag. We've got a picture of it.
Right. I wonder if that was every nation that did that in
No,
Moscow.
that's where the history-making part might be. Every nation's going to have a man and a woman.
Interesting. Closer to home, the state's Transition Committee will meet today to discuss border restrictions. It's likely they'll be relaxed, with WA and the Northern Territory. Police Commissioner Grant Stevens says opening to parts of Queensland will also be considered.
Southeastern Queensland and Northern Queensland potentially being treated differently. So the Transition Committee will certainly focus on that. It is a large state, so it's certainly worthy of a conversation.
In Queensland, 10 hospital workers are isolating after exposing themselves to COVID-19 to save a patient's life. The staff didn't have enough time to put on PPE and went straight into isolation after. The state's chief health officer is praising their actions as selfless. Meanwhile, dozens of staff, patients and visitors at a regional hospital in WA are being told to get tested following a breach in infection protocols. An employee who was not wearing PPE entered a lift which had been used to transfer a COVID-positive patient. It really just, for the rest of us, especially in Adelaide, we're so lucky that we're really kind of untouched in a way, other than restrictions maybe coming in. But for, if you work in health,
it's every moment of every day, isn't it?
It's something you really, really think about.
Yeah, and interesting, just while we're talking about COVID stuff, I noticed a new sort of word has been introduced into the vernacular today on the front page of the Advertiser. They're starting to talk about COVID Freedom Day.
Yes,
now we associate Freedom Day, COVID Freedom Day, with the UK, because they've got it July 19, and that's when all the restrictions and...
I feel like it's more appropriate for the UK.
What is it? They've had a severe lockdown, and they still have restrictions in place. So I can understand how they are really looking forward to it, about getting back to normal. But I'm not sure that here, particularly in Adelaide and Melbourne at the moment, we've got 50,000 people allowed to go to the football match tonight. I'm not sure we've got too many freedoms that are restricted at the moment. 75% of capacity. I understand there'll be a lifting of restriction, but I think it's a bit dramatic calling it Freedom Day. We're still pretty free, aren't we?
Well, that day is supposedly Melbourne Cup Day on the 2nd of November, and that's when they think we would have, been close to herd immunity when we've got enough vaccine doses. So interesting there.
I think it's a little bit about this. I think the media introduced these days and then we have a target so that if it's missed, we have something to report on and we have something to sort of question people.
I don't know if the media can introduce a day, but it would have been mentioned somewhere.
I understand that, but building it up, and this is our day, and this is what we're going to do, and then if it gets hit, then it's happy days, and we celebrate it, and we talk good things, and then if it's missed, we rip into people.
It'll be interesting to see if it gets picked up, that's for sure. Sydney's bracing for a spike in COVID cases in 3 areas in the southwest. Residents in the Fairfield, Liverpool and Canterbury Bankstown local government areas are being urged not to leave home unless it's absolutely necessary. The Premier says if the outbreak isn't brought under control soon, those LGAs will soon be subject to even tougher restrictions. Back home again, and 3 people are in hospital after a stabbing at Greenacres last night. Emergency services were called to Weissel Street just before 8:30. A woman and 2 men were taken to hospital, one with a stab wound to his back. Their injuries are non-life-threatening.
What is happening? Are we having a spate of knife attacks lately? The last 3 days we've had stabbings. I guess it's much better than shootings because the damage is limited in these cases, but it just seems like we've had 3 days, 3 stabbings. That seems a bit unusual.
Well, we'll have police media on a little later in the show, so we can ask them that. But
a couple of hard-hitting questions for me then, it won't be to just grill the senior police media advisor.
Well, police have also arrested a man following an incident in the city overnight too. Just before 7:30, police were called to Rundle Street following reports of a man with a knife. The 39-year-old of no fixed address didn't threaten anyone. He was charged with carrying an offensive weapon and disorderly behaviour. He's been granted bail and will front court in September. Federal Sports Minister Richard Colbeck will make a final pitch to Olympic officials to secure the 2032 Games. Senator Colbeck will represent the Australian government in Tokyo as the Olympics get underway later this month. He says hosting the Games in Queensland will create jobs and an economic boom in the country. It'd be interesting to see where we are in 2032 to welcome everyone, given how shut down we are to the world, to welcome
I think
everyone back in.
It's losing its lustre hosting the Olympic Games, I think, compared to what it used to be. So many cities have lost money, so many cities have bungled it, and it can sometimes be a curse. So I guess they've got a lot of the infrastructure already because of the Commonwealth Games, so I think it makes sense. Anastasia Palaszczuk, a little bit hypocritical, lobbied so hard to stop people coming in from internationally and all that sort of stuff, and she'll be flying out to Tokyo very shortly and she'll be coming back in. That'll be all fine. So
we've got some dates to look forward to, November the 2nd and maybe 2032 as well. Taking a look
it's a long way out.
Taking a look at the weather, a few clouds around today, 16 degrees the forecast top, 15 tomorrow, 17 on Saturday.
We're talking to the Master Builders Association's CEO, Danita Wan, next, talking about their workers who are committing to the vaccine. So we're talking about individual industries getting behind this and giving it a real push. We'll do that next. We'll also talk about a spate of the break-ins and stuff that's going on around town on construction sites and some of the technology that's being used. So we've got a few topics we can talk to Danita about. If you want to join in the conversation, give us a call on 8223 0000. Remembering we've got Corey Wingard on later. Which is going to be great, talking about transport issues around the place. Or you can send us a text on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line 0448 08 1395. And for all those people out there who have been watching the Euros semi-final, it's 1-1, England taking on Denmark. So we're going to go to overtime, and then if they still can't split these guys, we'll then go to a penalty shootout. So if you're sitting in front of your TV, if you're chewing your nails, or if you're on the edge of your seat and you want to share that, give us a ring, 8223 0000.
Welcome to Amy's Everyday Arena, where competitor Keith is at the Barbie. Oh my, a sausage is on fire. He makes a break for it, clears a hurdle of bikes, and plonks that blazing bratwurst into the bin. Oh, and he's knocked over the shed. Luckily, when accidents happen at home, Amy can help cover it. Who helps cover the challenges of the Everyday Arena? Amy does.
You're
Optional accidental damage at home cover is available with AAMI Home Building and Contents Insurance. Exclusions apply. Before buying insurance issued by AAMI, read the PDS at aami.com.au.
For over 36 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. Steinborner is your first choice for new Hyundai and Mitsubishi in the Barossa, and your first choice for Ford in Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip, or well worth the click.
Great business starts when you're in control. With the Optus Business Connect plan, get up to 8 SIMs and up to 300 gig of data, all on one simple plan. Great business starts with yes. Explore the Optus Business Connect plan in-store or online today. T's and C's apply.
At the Australian Building Company, we love building things. Homes, trust, relationships. And now you can move into your dream home even sooner because we make all the paperwork and the decisions easy as. Plus, there's no unexpected surprises with our fixed price contract delivered in just 7 days. You'll love building with us as much as we'll love building with you. Visit australianbuildingcompany.com.au.
Once it's gone in Dreamland's once-a-year warehouse sale.
That's right, our warehouses are full, so right now it all has to go. With savings of up to 50% off big brand Australian mattresses and ensembles like Sealy Posturepedic, Sleepmaker, Exclusive Sleep Haven, Restopedic and Utopia. Plus there's huge savings on bed frames, bedroom furniture, adjustable beds and Manchester. With savings up to 50% off, don't miss out on a great night's sleep in Dreamland's once-a-year warehouse sale.
It'll soon be gone.
Dreamland. 5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. 5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
26 minutes past 6. Good morning. Still dark outside, but I was going to say a little ray of sunshine in Tom Wren's just walked into the studio. That's maybe a little bit effeminate, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fluorio Milk Company, South Australian and proud of it. And Tom, boy, oh boy, there's a lot happening in the world of sport. Let's start with the Euros.
Unbelievable. So I know a lot of English soccer fans will be listening in this morning and probably watching at the same time. England and Denmark have just gone to extra time like it did yesterday with Italy. It is 1-1, so same scoreline. So we've got 15 minutes each way now, and then
So
if it's
Denmark scored first, is that right?
Denmark scored first in the 30th minute, and then there was an own goal that Denmark conceded in the 39th minute. England were pushing hard, so extra time. It's being played in England. It's at Wembley Stadium, so good effort by the Danes, but still half an hour before potentially penalties again.
And just quickly, Tom, for context of people who might not be into it, this is big for England.
This is huge. They've never won the Euros before. This has been going since, I think, 1968 may have been the first tournament, maybe 64. But they've never won this tournament. They haven't won a major trophy since 1966. This is a chance to go into the final. I mean, this is a huge opportunity, which will be played, Amelia, at Wembley. So their home stadium. This is enormous. This is as big as it gets. I mean, the English believe they're cursed. There's all kinds of things going on. So this is a massive opportunity. So it's all to play for. It's on the line in the next half an hour. Huge.
I guess, if for context, the Premier League has been one of the great leagues around the world, and so people will associate soccer with England, yet on the international stage, they just haven't performed, have they? The World Cup and the Euros and the like.
Exactly. So, this is their opportunity. They've got some world-class players now in Raheem Sterling, Harry Kane. They've got a good keeper now in Pickford, and they've got also Harry Maguire back there. So they've got a good side, but they just haven't been able to put it together. Maybe this is finally the year. And this is the anthem.
It's coming home.
It's almost like a bit of a Mickey. It's a great... So, look, if you have time to Google that, It's Coming Home. It's basically taking all the fans through all the hurt they've gone through over decades and the stories. It's a brilliant anthem song, and they keep playing it. It's become their national anthem, basically.
Well, while we're in London, Wimbledon, and unfortunately, one of the favourites or fan favourites went out last night.
I think a lot of people will be shattered to be waking up and hearing that Roger Federer is out of Wimbledon. He's gone down to Herbert Hurkacz in straight sets. He's a Polish player.
Herbert Hurkacz?
Yeah.
It's one of the good names, isn't it?
It's a great name, isn't it? It's disappointing.
There are some good ones in tennis.
I know. Some absolute
I don't know how you do it.
You've just got to sort of fumble your way and pretend you know what you're talking about, I think. So a good result for him, but not so good for Roger Federer. It's Novak Djokovic is to lose, I think. He won again in straight sets. That will put him level with Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer for all-time Grand Slams. He's going to win that easily.
Just a little bit of trivia I read overnight. First golfer or tennis player to earn $150 million in prize money. So that's purely from
Federer?
playing tennis.
Yeah.
No, this is Novak Djokovic.
Djokovic, wow.
By going through to the to winning yesterday. So blokes like Tiger Woods, for example, and Michael Jordan and all those guys, they made $100 million, $130 million, but they never got to 150. But they've made all of their money through endorsements. Like the Michael Jordan brand, which is the Air Jordan, grosses $4.4 billion in sales for Nike each year, and he's on a 5% kicker on that. So you just do your math on that, 5% of $4.4 billion, and that's yearly for him. So he's making some serious coin, as a lot of the other players do, but in pure prize money for playing tennis and golf, he's the highest earner ever.
And just quickly, footy tonight?
Yes, and Amelia, I'm interested because Port have brought back Zach Butters and Tom Cleary, but they're a little bit top-heavy, potentially down back. How are we looking weather-wise?
Moderate winds, there's no chance of rain, and at the first bounce it'll be around 12 degrees. So
not bad conditions.
No, quite good for winter footy, that's for sure.
All right, that's great. That's good. Well, I think for what it's worth, and you can laugh at me tomorrow, I think Port will win by 3 goals tonight. I think they're ready for this one.
I tend to agree. The home ground advantage, people, I think we sometimes just forget about it a bit, and
huge with crowds.
Anytime you travel, it is a disruption to your normal routine. And 50,000 people, if the weather's going to be fine, school holidays, you've got all those things that are going on. I think there will be a big crowd there, and I think that'll help Port Adelaide get home.
Yeah, let's hope so. Anyway, go the power, and thanks for your time, guys.
Thanks, Tom.
There you go. Tom Wren, who joins us each and every morning, giving us an update on what happened in the sport overnight. We are going to take a break because it's just after 6:30. We'll have the news. Be back shortly.
This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Partly cloudy today and a top of 16 with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. PhysioExtra.com.
It's often racing toward Melbourne Cup Day amid reports Australia could have enough vaccine supply for herd immunity by then. Nine's Jonathan Kersley reports from Canberra.
Data analyst Kenneth Sang has told the Herald Sun there could be enough supply of vaccine in the country for 80% of the adult population by the first Tuesday in November. The analysis doesn't take into account batch testing or distribution times, and other analysis has shown we might not have 80% of the population fully vaccinated until the end of January. The Downey Institute is also working on modelling for vaccine targets to guide the Prime Minister's roadmap out of the pandemic, which at the moment has no vaccine goals to reopen the country.
The State Transition Committee will meet today. Police Commissioner Grant Stevens says border restrictions are on the agenda.
I'm still hopeful that Northern Territory and Western Australia, as a result of our meetings, will see some of those restrictions lifted in terms of people being able to travel across into South Australia.
Opening to parts of North and South Queensland will also be considered, but the border will stay shut to New South Wales after the state extended their stay-at-home orders for a week. Australia is giving Indonesia a helping hand to battle COVID in the form of 2.5 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Testing kits and ventilators will also be shipped over. It's part of a $12 million support package. An altercation between 2 men and a woman at Greenacres is under investigation. Emergency services were called to Weissel Street just after 8:30 last night. One man received a stab wound to his back, while the other man and a woman suffered assault injuries. All 3 were taken to hospital. Their condition is not life-threatening. The average Australian household is throwing out almost $1,000 worth of food every year. As Gabrielle Hodson reports, beef, bread, cheese and salads are the most likely to be tossed.
The Fight Food Waste Cooperative Research Centre has studied the fridges and wheelie bins of Australia and tapped into why we throw out an average of 219 kilos of food a year. Not surprisingly, families with young children threw out the most. People over 75 were the best at identifying and using the oldest ingredients first. Researchers say it's a skill that needs to be passed on to the younger generation. They've also found many consumers fail to read food storage instructions. The report suggests snapping a shelfie on your phone so you know exactly what you have at home before you shop.
A huge blast has rocked Dubai. The explosion involved a container ship anchored at the local port and it caught fire, causing buildings across the city to shake. Donald Trump is suing Facebook, Twitter and Google, as well as their chief executives. The former US president alleges he's been unlawfully censored by the three companies and his First Amendment rights have been violated. And a potential game changer for those of us who love a latte or a flat white, a Melbourne cafe has invented the world's first coffee, which leaves you with fresh breath. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Fluorio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
But before coffee comes sport, Tom Wren.
Exactly right. That's what we have to do first, and then we'll get the coffee. Now, Mel, the round 18 fixture has been released for the AFL, with Port Adelaide to take on St Kilda at Marvel Stadium next Saturday night. The Crows will host West Coast the following day for the Sunday twilight fixture. Meantime, the Powers brought back in Zach Butters and Tom Cleary for tonight's blockbuster against Melbourne. Let's go to soccer. In England and Denmark's Euro semi-final has just gone to extra time. Score still locked at 1-1 at Wembley Stadium. The Danes opened the scoring via a free kick in the 30th minute before conceding an own goal before half-time.
Kane, he's found Saka. Bukayo Saka standing now! England snatch it back! Kerr sliding in with Sterling, maybe debited.
The Tokyo Olympics could be held without crowds as the Japanese government weighs up imposing a new state of emergency. Australian athletes are ramping up their preparations, though, for the Games, with Kate Campbell and Paddy Mills named Australia's flag bearers for the opening ceremony. Campbell, who will take part in the opening ceremony for the first time, says given the past year, it's an opportunity she couldn't pass up.
If the past year has taught me anything, it's to soak up every moment because you never know when things are going to change. And that was a big part of why I was so honoured.
The men's semi-finals at Wimbledon have been decided. Herbert Hurkacz upset Roger Federer, knocking him out in straight sets. Other quarter-final winners, Denis Shapovalov, Novak Djokovic and Matteo Berrettini. And Tim Tszyu has beaten Steve Spark with a third-round stoppage fight in their boxing match in Newcastle. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Partly cloudy, 16 today. Tomorrow much the same and 15, 17 on Saturday. Right now it's 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning, 23 minutes to 6. Amelia Mulcahy, Mark Bickley doing breakfast here this morning. Still dark outside. Not a bad day coming up. It's going to be dry, that's the main thing. And I guess it's sort of a typical winter's day. But going to change tack slightly now and talk to the Master Builders Association CEO, Donita Warren. Builders are committing their workers to getting vaccinated, which we love. We think it's a great thing. Good morning, Donita. And how did this idea come about?
Good morning. Yes, we were, Master Builders Australia was one of 30 business groups represented at a meeting with the Treasurer and Lieutenant General Fruin yesterday, all about the COVID vaccine rollout, the new direction upon which the government's taking and what we can do as industry to play a role to ensure we get as many people vaccinated as possible, because the country cannot reopen properly unless we have a large percentage of the population vaccinated.
Who else was in that meeting, Donita? Because there's been a lot of talk about, Qantas might be offering frequent flyers to its employees, or, you can maybe get the jab at Bunnings later on down the track. Who else were you in the meeting with?
And there was about 30 of us. So it was a combination of CEOs of large corporations such as, Qantas, Woolworths, Virgin and so forth, but equally also the CEOs of all the major industry associations, including ourselves. So it was an hour and a half of getting briefed by the government, but equally a commitment, I think, from every one of those 30 participating in doing what we can to reopen Australia. All of us are frustrated from the businesses that we represent that they're being shut down, although building has been lucky by and large, we've still been operating. But also I think everyone is sharing a frustration that border closures, lockdowns are really taking a mental and financial strain on the community as a whole.
Danita, after the briefing, are you confident that once all these industry leaders push the button and say, yes, we're all going to go there, that the infrastructure, that the resources, that the supply chains are all going to be possible to make this happen?
Yeah, it's an interesting issue. I mean, certainly from Master Builders' perspective, 98% of our membership are small to medium-sized businesses working in different sites all over the place. So it's very hard to be able to be part of necessarily a distribution perspective. But we certainly have committed to a communications campaign to our membership to explain why vaccinations are important. So there's two issues. We've got to make sure we've got enough supply of vaccines, and that's the role of government. The second issue is around distribution, and certainly there are some legal issues about broadening the distribution centres to include businesses. So, of course, all of those issues need to be ironed out. But there's been a successful mobile unit that the industry has been using in Victoria during COVID testing during the Victorian lockdown last year. And we do think that there are some possibilities, not only for building sites, but broader regional and communities and outer suburban communities, of potentially looking at mobile vaccine centres to make it easier for people to go and get their vaccine jabs.
So that's something that we could see in South Australia, a mobile unit. And how does that work? Are you guys then, Master Builders, in charge of the distribution then, or is it subcontracted and the government helps you with that?
It would either be a government-run facility or someone who has got the accreditation to do so. I think the really important issue about this is anyone who gives the vaccine has to be accredited. And I mean, at the moment, only a limited number of pharmacies who are otherwise accredited for flu vaccines can't do the vaccine for COVID. So it obviously has to be administered by someone who is accredited to do so. We are simply providing either the ideas or the facilities for those accredited people to come in. And I think that's the big issue in determining, can we maximise the buildings, the structures that are around the country owned by corporations and industry to ensure we can get as many vaccine centres as possible, whether they're static or they're mobile.
And what's been the interest in Master Builders membership?
Well, I think the important thing from a Master Builders perspective is that we know that we're a central part of the economy, that if we're not working effectively, then the economy is not strong. We want to see the economy reopen, and that can't happen until everyone, or as many people as possible, get the jab. The incentive that we're looking for is for government to determine a target of how many people need a vaccine before the country reopens. We're seeing in the UK that they're reopening with only about 50% of the population fully vaccinated. So I think that's something that is expected from National Cabinet for industry and the population generally to say, well, what are we aiming for? What's our target? And when the supplies arrive, let's get on and just do it.
And speaking of, delays in the industry, every industry has been impacted, but building in particular, you've had COVID, there's been, huge shortages of timber, that we've noticed here in SA. And it feels like, in my suburb, every second house is doing renovations. How are you guys going to I guess, improve this? And how can we, keep things going smoothly?
Well, I think the important thing from our perspective is that we have been extraordinarily lucky in comparison to other industries. We were deemed an essential industry, and by and large, with the exception of some pockets in Victoria, we have stayed open. Home Builder came at the right time, and it's been extraordinarily successful in South Australia. And as such, builders have been kept on building. But we have had some perverse outcomes, and one of them has been shortages of supplies, but it's also been shortages of labour. And the fact that we have borders closed between states does not help us in terms of the movement of people to assist in those labour shortages, and certainly getting those international borders reopened to enable us to get skilled people is critically important. So certainly that's why we're going to do our bit.
Danita Warren, thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure. Have a good day.
Will do. They're the Master Builders of Australia CEO Donita Warren. They're talking about, firstly, her members who have committed to getting vaccinated.
Looking at them, getting them vaccinated,
and which is great. And also, just touching on those shortages, and hopefully for people who are building or planning on building, that there is some, light on the horizon. Dramatic scenes at Wembley Stadium because England have scored. They won a penalty. The penalty was then saved, but the rebound, the follow-up, was put into the back of the net. So there you go, high drama at Wembley, and we're into overtime. England have scored 15 minutes to go, and fair to say,
anything can happen.
If they hang on in those last 15 minutes, it's going to be pandemonium in London when if they are successful in making it through to the final. Goodness me, I can't even imagine what happens if they win the final. But if they get there even, that'll be a huge, huge achievement.
Of course, there are fans here in Adelaide watching them too. We're going to cross to them just after 7. Yep, so I can't wait to hear from them. It'll either be celebrations or commiserations. Hopefully the first option there, but we'll see.
Well, right now they're very nervous, I would think. 6:45, we're going to take a break. Be back very shortly.
I'm Georgie Dent, Executive Director of The Parenthood, a community of over 72,000 parents and carers. Every day, families tell me that Australia's early learning and childcare system is outdated and too expensive. It prevents women from getting back into the workforce and kids are missing out. National Cabinet is meeting and childcare is on the agenda. Tell them we need a high-quality, affordable, universal system at thriveby5.org.au.
Authorised by Mindiru Foundation, Perth.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you'll receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
Dr. Greg Keane explains how SportsMed puts patients first every day.
SportsMed is different. We have a clinic and hospital with specialists, doctors, physios and podiatrists all together in one location. There's also pathology, radiology, pharmacy and a cafe. This makes life easier for our patients because their appointments can all happen right here. It also lets us diagnose issues quickly, leading to high quality, cost-effective care.
And their patients love it. SportsMed.
Start living life again with our expert help.
Sportsmed.com.au.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Jurassic creatures have arrived in Adelaide. Get ready to be thrilled and amazed as the greatest creatures ever to walk the earth come to life in this interactive dinosaur walkthrough, featuring lifelike moving dinosaurs, fossil digs, dinosaur activities, dinosaur show games, food and so much more. Jurassic Creatures, on until the 25th of July at Edwards Park, Adelaide. Tickets are already selling fast. Book now at Ticketmaster.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning, everyone. 12 minutes to 7. Amelia Mulcahy, Mark Bickley. If you're just waking up and you're wondering what's happening in the Euro semi-final, the English team are up. They're 2-1 in front, and that is deep into extra time. So can they hold on? That's the big question. So we'll keep you posted on that. Time now to check the police beat. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad joins us from SAPOL Media. Kimberly, there was a stabbing at Greenacres last night.
Yeah, it was about 8:20 last night. Police were called to Weiss Street at Greenacres after reports of two men and a woman fighting in the street. Now, when police arrived, they located one man with a stab wound to his back and another man and woman also with some injuries. But they've all been taken to hospital for treatment, all non-life-threatening. But police investigations are continuing, and they're just asking if anybody witnessed any activity in that street at Weiss Street to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Kimberly, we were talking earlier in the show, maybe it's just my heightened awareness because we're speaking to you each day, but there seems to be an uptick in stabbings and knife crime lately.
Well, I guess what's important for the public to realise is that, particularly these incidents that have occurred this week, is that the people who are involved are all known to each other. These aren't random incidents that are happening at people's houses where, again, they're all known to each other. So, yeah, it's not a case of people being loose on the street and these being random incidents. So I think the community can be reassured that they are safe.
There have also been two separate car pursuits overnight, Kimberly.
That's right. The first one was just after midnight. Frederick Road at Seaton, patrols spotted a Holden sedan, which was reported stolen from a break-in at St Clair on the 27th of June. Now, they directed the driver to stop, however, he refused, and it was pursued through into Glenburnie Street at Seaton. Was lost a short time later around West Lakes Boulevard, but patrols in Polaire managed to pick it up again about 30 minutes later and was tracked by Polaire along Cheltenham Parade, Port Road, before it went into the northern suburbs. Now, we did successfully spike the car's tyres in Shepperson Road at Salisbury, and he abandoned the stolen car in Alwyn Street a short time later and fled on foot. Luckily, a police dog with PD Stoic, they were in the area pretty quickly and arrested him nearby. So we've got a 29-year-old man from Maylands. He's been charged over that pursuit, also with the illegal use of the motor vehicle and a few other offences. So he's been refused bail to appear in the Port Adelaide Magistrates Court today. That second pursuit was about 3:45 this morning. It involved the police dog operations patrol spotting a red Holden Commodore sedan on Regency Road at Croydon Park. Now, he attempted to speak to the driver, however, she took off and ended up crashing into a traffic light at the intersection of Regency Road and Days Road. He sustained a minor injury as he tried to actually remove her from the car to prevent her from driving off. But she's continued driving along Days Road and into Grey Street, where she crashed again into a tree. So that lady, a 23-year-old woman from Adelaide, she's been arrested and charged over those crashes, along with driving disqualified, unreg, and with stolen number plates.
She had a big night. Thank you very much, Senior Constable Kimberly Broad there from SAPOL Media. Vince Rowlands is a senior forecaster at the Bureau of Meteorology. Vince, good morning.
Morning, Mark. Good morning, Amelia.
Hi, Vince. How you going?
What are we looking forward to today, Vince?
Yeah, look, not too different to yesterday. A little bit of cloud around today, but top of 16 after a pretty mild night. Only got down to 10.1 this morning at about 6:45. It's currently sitting at 10.3. So, yeah, not too bad a day expected across the city today. Touch cooler at Elizabeth with 15, and up in the hills we've got Mount Barker 13 degrees today. Now, we are expecting a pretty cool night overnight tonight, dropping down to 7 as a minimum tomorrow. And we do have a trough moving across from the west, so we're likely to see a little bit of shower activity during the afternoon tomorrow. So a touch cooler with a top of 15. But very short-lived. We are expecting temperatures to warm up again on Saturday, at the start of the weekend, with a top of 17 forecast for Saturday. We do have another little weak system moving through on Sunday, so we'll see temperatures get to 17 before that arrives, and then we could see some falls, maybe up to a millimetre or so on Sunday. So not a lot, but just a little bit of shower activity around. And then that shower activity is expected to continue through Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, but temperatures just warming up, even though we do have showers as the winds go northerly. So we've got 16 on Monday, 17 on Tuesday and 18 at this stage on Wednesday. So, yeah, a little bit of shower activity for Friday, but other than that, looking pretty good as we head in towards the weekend.
And how do you feel about that, Bix? Because I don't know if you know Vince, but Mark Bickley here, he's a bit of a weather skeptic, he says.
Yeah. No, I'm not sceptical.
I'm sure you've heard he's got quite the reputation.
Vince knows his stuff, but still, the weather is unpredictable, and it's really just the best guess. That's what I'm saying. Like my footy tips, Vince, I'm on the bottom row in the advertisers.
Okay.
So I'm not very good at it. But that's not to say I don't know anything about football. So
he's just a bit dubious about the percentage chance.
Yeah, I love it when they say 50% chance of 50% chance of rain. I always take it as it could rain or it could not rain. There's your 50%. Anyway, hey Vince, thanks for having a bit of fun with us. Quickly, I have a rain gauge and I'm quite interested in rainfall. July, what's the average rainfall in July? And we wouldn't be anywhere near it just yet. We've had a pretty dry start to the month.
Yeah, look, we're not near it yet. So, we're looking at over 70 millimetres. So, we're up around the sort of 14, I think. I'd have to have a quick look.
15.4.
Yeah, so we've got a fair way to go, but we had, as you know, we had a pretty wet June, so that was good.
Indeed.
Hopefully, we get some more of these systems moving through and pushing our July rainfall up. So we'll have to wait and see what happens over the next couple of weeks.
Great stuff,
Thanks,
Vince.
Vince. Chat to you soon.
Yeah, there you go. Senior forecaster Vince Rowland.
I just like to say it every now and then, Big.
Just giving us his best guess there. Okay, time now to check the traffic after 55 years. People know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
Good morning. At Ingle Farm this morning, got a two-car collision at Montague and Fairfax Road. At Northfield, there are changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road. That's for the intersection upgrade. Take note of the signage there. Crafers still got speed restrictions on the freeway. They still apply for works in both directions. Busy on the drive-in this morning at Clearview, Hampstead Road outbound Petite Street to Grand Junction Road, and cameras at Mofflin Road, Elizabeth Vale, and Victoria Road at Birkenhead. It's time to get a loony. See basketball champion LeBron James, Bugs Bunny and all the Looney Tunes team up for Space Jam, A New Legacy. Advanced screenings only in cinemas now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Thursday night is the perfect night for anything made with pork, like Tex-Mex pork mince nachos, pork shepherd's pie, or barbecue Moroccan pork mince skewers. Check out all the recipes at pork.com.au and get some pork on your fork.
How do you make the experience of buying a new Mazda even better? You choose Mawson Lakes Mazda and get your perfect pick. Mawson Lakes Mazda has a huge range in stock right now, so you can get the perfect model and the perfect colour. And will you get a good deal at Mawson Lakes Mazda too? Come in and see their demo deal clearance prices. All the models, all the colours. The only limit is time. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Up to 50% off King mattresses and ensembles now at Harvey Norman. That's right. Bigger the size, bigger the deal on selected Australian-made mattresses and ensembles. Up to 30% off double, up to 40% off queen, and up to 50% off King mattresses and ensembles. Our range includes the best names in Australian-made mattresses from Sealy Posturepedic, King Coil by AH Beard, Sleepmaker, and Beauty Rest. Up to 50% off King mattresses and ensembles. Bigger the size, bigger the deal on selected Australian-made mattresses and ensembles in-store only. Now at Harvey Norman.
Hi, I'm Peter Berkowitz from Berkowitz Furniture. Our winter stock take sale is on now, and you'll save up to 40%. Save on our comfortable leather and fabric sofas, sofa beds, recliners, dining tables, dining chairs, including our Australian-made collection. And you can customise to your heart's content. Be part of our massive winter stock take sale and save up to 40%. Hurry, sale ends soon. We're not just a furniture store, we're an Aussie furniture family. In-store at Mile End Homemaker Centre and online.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. 5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show. Time now to cross to the States. 7 News US correspondent is Tim Lester and he joins us now. Tim, good morning.
Morning, guys.
Hey, Florida hit by Tropical Storm Elsa. What's the latest?
Well, it looks like, one, Elsa hasn't been as severe on the site of that terrible building collapse down in Surfside, Miami, which, of course, is down the, as you look at the map, the bottom right or eastern side of the peninsula, though it still has done some pretty severe weather down there. The cyclone moved in over... or in fact, it became hurricane strength as it hit the coast, but on the Gulf of Mexico side of Florida, dumping an awful lot of rain and very high winds down there, and also particularly early in the year for what is the most hurricane-prone state in the whole of the United States, of all 50 states. So they get plenty of these events down there, but it's a particularly early in the year for them to see this kind of storm.
Donald Trump spoke overnight.
If they can do it to me, they can do it to anyone. And in fact, that is exactly what they're doing. They're taking people off who don't even realize they were taken off.
Now he's looking to sue some of the tech giants, Tim.
Yes, this is out of the January 6th Capitol riots, when, of course, Donald Trump then as president gave that infamous address in which he encouraged his followers to go down to the Capitol and vent their anger. They did, of course, infamously on that day. And as such, Twitter, Facebook and Google's YouTube shut him out. In fact, Twitter permanently, Facebook for 2 years. He's now taking them to court, saying that that's an infringement of his First Amendment rights. The First Amendment to the US Constitution guarantees a right to free speech, among other things, and he says that that's an infringement of his right of free speech. Most experts who look at this at the moment who are commenting are saying he actually hasn't got much chance of winning, but he is a master of self-promotion, and this Donald Trump v. the big tech giants over his Twitter account is going to promote him a bit, you reckon.
Tim, thanks for joining us, mate.
Thanks, Tim.
Good chatting.
Yeah, there you go. Donald Trump. I was enjoying not hearing from him in the last couple of weeks. He's been back in the news, unfortunately. When we get back from the news, which we're going to go to very shortly, we'll know if football is indeed coming home or not. England in extra time are 2-1 up, only minutes remaining. We're going to cross to England fans in the Adelaide casino who are watching it, and I'm sure they're about to go into raptures if they can hang on. This is the 5AA Breakfast Show with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 16 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
Life could become COVID normal by November the 2nd. New data suggests there'll be enough vaccine doses on offer by then to protect 80% of the eligible population. COVID normal is about achieving herd immunity, which will lead to some travel reopening and the end of lockdowns. Meantime, the State Transition Committee will meet today to discuss border restrictions. It's likely they'll be relaxed with WA and the Northern Territory. Police Commissioner Grant Stevens says opening to parts of Queensland will also be considered.
Southeastern Queensland and Northern Queensland potentially being treated differently, so the Transition Committee will certainly focus on that. It is a large state, so it's certainly worthy of a conversation.
The New South Wales border will stay shut after the state reported 27 cases yesterday and extended their stay-at-home orders for a week for Greater Sydney. 3 people are in hospital after a stabbing at Greenacres. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says they were called to Weissel Street just before 8:30 last night.
When police arrived, they located one man with a stab wound to his back and another man and woman also with some injuries. But they've all been taken to hospital for treatment, all non-life-threatening.
Global company Numed Pharmaceuticals is going to call Adelaide its Australian home. They'll set up a manufacturing facility next to Parafield Airport. 40 million units of tablets, liquids and creams will be produced here. 250 jobs will come online during construction, with another 180 down the line. The cost of renting in Adelaide continues to rise. According to new figures from Domain, rents jumped another $5 over the June quarter to a new record average of $430 a week. Donald Trump is suing Facebook, Twitter and Google after they banned him from their platforms. Nine's Michael Genovese reports from the US.
It's a class action lawsuit with Donald Trump as the lead plaintiff. The former president is permanently banned from Twitter, suspended from Facebook for at least 2 years, and isn't allowed on YouTube because of the risk of real-world violence.
If they can do it to me, they can do it to anyone. And in fact, that is exactly what they're doing. They're taking people off who don't even realize they were taken off.
It comes days after Donald Trump launched his own social media platform called Getter.
A week after being released from prison, Bill Cosby is planning his comedy comeback. The 83-year-old has been in contact with several promoters who are open to having him perform. Now turning to 5AA sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fleurieu Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
It's over to Tom Wren. What is happening with this England-Denmark match?
It's amazing, Mel. There are literally only seconds remaining in this semi-final between England and Denmark. England on track for a dramatic 2-1 extra-time win. The goal in extra time coming, though, via a very controversial penalty, which was converted by the captain, Harry Kane. To football, Port Adelaide will be looking to claim a big scalp when it takes on Melbourne tonight at Adelaide Oval. Power Vice-Captain Ollie Wines will be hoping to keep his red-hot form going. He's averaging a career-high 33 touches a game, and he's told Fox Footy having a full pre-season has been crucial for his brilliant year.
Over the previous 2 years, I've missed that and missed the first part of the season, so I think getting off to a good start and finding what's working for me has been important, and just grinding away as the times get tough. So it's been good so far, but we still think we've got plenty of work to do.
The men's semi-final lineup at Wimbledon has been decided in the upset of the tournament so far. Herbert Hurkacz knocked out Roger Federer in straight set, well, the upset of the night anyway. Federer failed to win a single game in the third and final set. He says he hasn't thought about retirement, but admits it could be his last appearance in London.
Of course, I would like to play it again, but at my age, you're just never sure what's around the corner.
Other quarter-final winners, Denis Shapovalov, Novak Djokovic and Matteo Berrettini. South Aussie jockey Jamie Carr has missed out on the chance to become the first rider to claim 100 city winners in a season after failing to ride a winner at Sandown yesterday. But the good news is she's got another 8 rides at Caulfield on Saturday. And boxer Tim Tszyu has made short work of Steve Spark in Newcastle, winning with a third-round stoppage to stay undefeated. And that's the 5AA sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Burton, look out for a car roll over Heaslip Road near Diamond Road. Mount Barker, 2-car smash on Alexandrina Road near Hartman Road. And at Ingle Farm, another collision there. 2 cars involved in this one. That's at Montague and Fairfax Road. Northfield, changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road. And Crayford's speed restrictions on the freeway still apply for works in both directions. Cameras on the drive-in this morning, Frederick Road, Grange and Haydown Road at Elizabeth Grove. At Pet Barn, enjoy 25% off Hillside's Diet Dry Cat Food, 1 to 3.5 kilos. Conditions apply. Offer ends July 12. Pet Barn, life's a treat. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Partly cloudy 16 today, tomorrow much the same and 15, Saturday mostly sunny 17. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
There you go. That has literally happened seconds ago. England, it's coming home. They're into the final of the Euros. Can you believe it? This is going to be huge. I'm guessing the nation has lost its marbles already right now. It would be still going crazy, and that's just the final. I can only imagine what is happening around the world at the moment. Glenn Clissard is at the casino, who's been up all night watching this match. Glenn, congratulations, and how are you feeling?
Feeling fantastic. It's great feeling. It's awesome.
What was the atmosphere like watching it there amongst a whole group of people?
What was the question, sorry?
What was the atmosphere like watching it amongst a whole group of people at the casino there this morning?
The atmosphere was pretty good. We've had a fair few here, actually, all across the sports bar there. The last 15 minutes was nervous at times, but then obviously we were keeping the balls. There's a lot of joy with that, and I know it's ecstatic at the moment out there. It's noisy as all hell out there.
Glenn, tell us, for people who are listening who might not understand just how big this is, how big is this for a fan like you?
It's there's no words. There's 55 years of hurt. There's so much time where England, yes. As you can hear, it's just it's unreal. We've been there before. The talent that squad has, so it's just there's no words to explain it really.
Well, Glenn, how long do you celebrate for before you turn or cast your mind forward to what is going to be Monday morning Adelaide time in the final? If you're excited now, what are you going to be like in a couple of days?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I've never really gone this far before, so it's really, I don't know. I've got goosebumps all over me. I don't know, but I've got a Monday and Tuesday off work. I reckon I'm going to need it.
You might have to take the week off if they win.
I mean, the closest thing is when Adelaide United won, I took a fair few days off for that, so I'd probably be pretty close, if not a bit more for that.
Okay, bit of controversy. A lot of people suggesting maybe it wasn't a penalty to England, the game-winning score. What did you think?
I mean, from what I saw, I thought it was a penalty. Raheem's gone in, got clipped from behind. It's hard, one of those things where you see it in the game and then maybe you go watch it the next day back and you might have a different decision. But the VAR's there, and the VAR's been fantastic at the Euros this year. It shows you how good it can actually be, and they got it right, So, I'm happy. Goal's a goal.
Glenn, do you have any Italian mates who you might sort of pair up with and watch on Monday, early Monday?
I don't think. I'd hope to think that I'm not surrounded with any Italians come Monday morning. But, I probably do have a few. So I'll probably be a bit of banter before then. But no, the England fans are all going. The England, the Adelaide supporters page have done an event for it, so it should be a really good turnout. And I'm sure the Italians will have somewhere they'll go as well.
Well, you get back in there with your mates, Glenn. Thank you so much for joining us. A very big morning, very early start for you, and a big morning too with England with the win.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to my nap at lunch breaks. Thanks, guys.
There you go. That's Glenn Clissold. He's at the casino with a whole heap of other people who watch the game. And for those that are interested, 4:30 a.m. Monday morning, England will take on Italy. So what do you think about Adelaide and people, nationalities that are strong in this city?
Ones.
Two real big ones there. And this is going to be a huge event. There's no doubt about that. And speaking of the UK, happy 25th birthday to this song this morning.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is 25 years ago. It seems like yesterday. I can remember it when it came out. Now you're a big Spice Girls fan. Sporty Spice,
I would say I was very invested in the Spice Girls back in the day. Had the Spice Girls Polaroids and all that sort of stuff with all my friends. I can't believe this is 25 years ago.
Yeah, making me feel old. I was old when it came out. now, what you were probably...
No comment.
What were you at school or something, were you?
I was at school.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we lived it and loved it. Well done, Spice Girls. That's great.
We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Elizabeth Steele-Collins, who is from Encounter Whales. Now, I'm speaking firsthand because a couple of days ago I went down to Maslin's Beach and saw the whales just offshore there. They were sort of frolicking a mother and its calf, and it was just such great fun and just such something you just have to tick off to see them.
You're not the only one.
Oh, there was
the
heaps
beach is
of people
packed.
there. And we did have some text messages yesterday asking, where are the whales? Has anyone seen them? So we're going to speak with Elizabeth Steele-Collins to get a bit of the latest, and maybe we'll be able to point you in the right direction if you are keen today.
Yeah, and give us a text if you have seen them on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line 0448 08 1395, or be part of the conversation 8223 0000. We'll chat to you the other side of the break.
Like the Clydesdales at Victor, or our loveless pair of pandas. From crossing the bridge to a showdown, to the serene Murray River. Things that make our fine state. It's who we are. Local, iconic, proud. There is SASAA. Live, local, and always informing Adelaide. 5AA.
I'm Georgie Dent, Executive Director of The Parenthood, a community of over 72,000 parents and carers. Every day, families tell me that Australia's early learning and childcare system is outdated and too expensive. It prevents women from getting back into the workforce, and kids are missing out. National Cabinet is meeting and childcare is on the agenda. Tell them we need a high-quality, affordable, universal system at thriveby5.org.au.
Authorised by Mindiru Foundation, Perth.
Ahead of Bastille Day on the 14th of July, you can celebrate it a little earlier at the Central Market.
That's right, Amelia. This Friday and Saturday, you can celebrate the best of French culture and shop all your favourite French fare at the market.
You can also keep the kids entertained with free school holiday activities both Friday and Saturday morning with crafts and gingerbread decorating. Plus, live music's back at the market both days with strings, opera and local musicians. And there's a pop-up French champagne bar. Hello, Friday evening from 5:30.
Oh, why 5:30? Could have been 11:30, I reckon.
We don't all have your operating hours, Bill.
So support local and get all your Bastille Day goodies at the Adelaide Central Market this weekend, or you can shop online anytime. For the full Bastille Day program, opening hours and more, visit AdelaideCentralMarket.com.
If you need a window, and not just anything will do, just call Statesman Windows back to redirect to you.
Nobody beats Statesman Windows, not on quality and certainly not on service. Windows, sliding doors, bifolds and more, made right here in Adelaide, factory direct to you. For windows when and where you want them, call Statesman Windows, states.com.au.
Windows when and where you want them. Windows when and where you want them.
Subscribe today to The Advertiser and save for months. Enjoy full digital access plus 7-day newspaper home delivery for just $1 a day for the first 6 months. Search The Advertiser offer now. Min cost $31. Conditions apply.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
FIVEaa Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning, 7:15. Getting lots of text messages through on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line 0448 08 1395. Greg's on the Facebook live stream. He's already going in capitals. It's coming home. It's fine and dandy. Just saying he prefers Port Adelaide's song rather than the It's Coming Home.
It's a good song.
You might hear that again tonight as well, Greg. So thanks for joining us on the Facebook live stream. As we mentioned before the break, Elizabeth Steele-Collins is the spokesperson for Encounter Wales, and I reckon she'd have a smile from ear to ear because the last couple of days has been absolutely sensational. Elizabeth, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mark and Amelia.
Good morning, Elizabeth. Now, I've been speaking with you a lot lately about the mother and her calf who's, been round at Christie's, down at Maslin's yesterday. There's been heaps of public interest, hasn't there?
Oh, amazing amount of public interest. I mean, it's incredible that this mum and calf are right there, hugging the coast and right in the middle of school holidays too. It's been incredible.
Where do you think they'll be today, Elizabeth? And where were they last reported yesterday?
Right. Well, the last they were seen was moving from Sellex Beach to towards Myponga Beach. So we're actually now waiting for the next report of where they've turned up. They've done the hop, skip and jump. Christie's had them for, I think, 8 days altogether. So, and then from Christie's, we went Sellex, then we went Maslin's. No, that's the wrong way round, isn't it? We went Maslin's and then Sellex. So, who knows? But I would say with such a young calf, the mum would be hugging the coast.
Elizabeth, what about if someone is out and about today and they do see it? I'd love them to be able to tell you so you can put it where you need to put it so people know where they are, so as many people as possible can get the information we need.
Yeah. Well, look, there's 2 sighting logs. Encounter Wales has a Facebook page that they update throughout the day, and also the Whale Centre at Victor Harbour have a sighting log too. So it'll be up there, and just check out where they are, and you can go and watch them and enjoy seeing them.
Have you spent time, Elizabeth, checking them out?
Look, I've done it. I've done it more via social media, and but keeping in touch with all of the people that are there, monitoring, taking photos. Like, I think this mother and calf would be the most photographed whale that I've ever known.
No doubt. No, my wife took 380 photos the other day. We got about 3 really good ones, I reckon, out of that. It's a numbers game, Elizabeth.
Now, Elizabeth, it is quite rare, though, isn't it? to see a whale and her calf, more around the Metro coastline than Encounter Bay?
It's certainly not common. The last mother and calf that I know about that we were tracking the movements of as well was in 2018, and that mum was known as EWM, and they stayed along the coast and then made their way to Encounter Bay Nursery, where they stayed a month.
So the theory is that she might have been on her way to maybe Encounter Bay and might have just had her calf a little early.
That is one theory for sure. I mean, she might have got lost. I am able to update with a little bit more information in that the catalogues, the National Southern Right Whale Photo ID catalogues have been checked, and it appears that this is a new whale. She's not a catalogued whale.
It's very exciting.
So it could be that this is also a new mum, so a first mum. It's a bit hard to know whether she was making her way to Encounter Bay, which she could have easily have done, but she also might have bypassed Encounter Bay.
So, Elizabeth, that's interesting about cataloguing the whales, because when I was down watching at Maslin's on Tuesday, it did have some quite distinctive, I'm not sure if this is the right term, like barnacle-type markings on the front of her nose, bill, well, I'm not sure what the front of a whale is called, mouth. So it was distinctive, and you would be able to tell if you had seen it before, I would have thought.
Yes, that's right. Look, they're not barnacles. They're actually called callosities. And they're born with the callosities.
Oh, really?
And then they're not white when they're born, though. And what makes them white is those callosities then become sort of like a home, a haven, or a host for whale lice, and they're called cyanids, and they gather on those callosities, and that's what turns them white.
Well,
but each whale has a different pattern, a different formation of those callosities, just like a human fingerprint. So that's what's used in photo identification and cataloguing. That's why we need photos of the left side and the right side, and then to make up a whole profile for that unique animal.
And what name are we going with, Elizabeth? Because a lot of people on social media are calling her Christy.
Well, I reckon everyone's one.
Christy and her bub. Beautiful.
Yeah, we're yet to name the calf. That's yet to come. But because if she was a known whale and she had a name, well, of course, we would use that name. But not in the catalogue, so Christy it is.
And do we know the gender of the calf?
Yes, it's a little girl.
Oh, wonderful. I feel like we've just done a birth announcement.
I was selfishly hoping it was going to be a boy, Elizabeth, and because it was seen at Maslin's, it might have been Richard, perhaps.
Or O'Sullivan, maybe. Elizabeth, thank you so much for your time from Encounter Whales. You guys do a wonderful job keeping track of, all the whale activity in Encounter Bay, and also just informing the public on the things to do and things not to do. We know we've had some people that have done that in the past week, so we thank you for your time on the show.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Great stuff. Elizabeth Steele-Collins, our spokesperson for Encounter Whales.
And well done, South Australia, for naming a whale.
Yep.
Everyone's just jumped on board and called her Christy.
Done. After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Burton, got a car rollover on Heaslip Road near Mill Road. Mount Barker, two-car smash there. Alexandrina Road near Hartman Road. Ingle Farm, two-car collision there as well. That's Montague and Fairfax Road. And Crafers, speed restrictions on the freeway still apply for works in both directions. Look out for cameras on the drive-in. Andrews Road, Andrews Farm. Fletcher Road, Birkenhead. And Hamlin Road and Elizabeth Downs. What's for lunch? How about a burrito or bowl from Guzmani Gomez for just $9.90? Choose from delicious pulled pork, grilled chicken, slow-cooked beef and more. Just $9.90 at GYG. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. At Lynn Andrews Real Estate, we've seen a lot of change in the property market over the last 50 years, but one thing remains constant: our passion to help people invest in the future, to build strong property portfolios in commercial and residential real estate. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share with you. We are here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com
Having just helped my sister move house, I can comfortably tell you there are 3 words your friends and family never like hearing, and it's "we're moving."
Don't worry, though. If your friends or family are over helping you move, you can always rely on budget car and truck rentals to help you out.
You can do it all with budget car and truck rentals, from 3-ton moving trucks you can drive on a car licence to vans and moving trailers. Budget car and truck rentals make it easy as to move house.
And possibly the best part about using budget car and truck rentals is that you won't owe your friends and family a house move in return.
Do it right in half the time and save money with budget car and truck rentals. Adelaide Airport, City, Milestone, Salisbury and Ranella. Call 13 27 27. That's 13 27 27.
Not sure who can best take care of your European car? Your local Repco authorised service centre is fully qualified to provide logbook servicing on all popular European cars. With access to the most up-to-date information and training, and backed by the Repco authorised service nationwide warranty, you can relax knowing that taking good care of your pride and joy is our pride and joy. Drop in at Blanks Automotive and Performance, Adelaide Road, Murray Bridge, or book online at repcoservice.com.
Dedicated, warm-hearted, friendly. Does this sound like you? At Home Care Plus, we support people living with a disability, and we're seeking people like you to fill flexible, secure, casual positions. Home Care Plus will support you with any training you need and pay for it. There are fantastic opportunities managing or coordinating our support teams too. If you want to connect to others in need, connect to us first. Go to homecareplus.asn.au. Home Care Plus, a South Australian company dedicated to supporting the potential of others.
Peter Shearer Menswear is the brand with the brands. For more than 50 years, our experience has put us ahead of the latest fashion trends, always. As the largest independently owned menswear brand in South Australia, we will match any genuine price on identical items, always. But most importantly, our staff are helpful, honest and understand all body shapes are unique. The Peter Shearer Menswear commitment to ensuring customer satisfaction means we give right and honest advice, always. Peter Shearer Menswear, Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker and online.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. 5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning, 26 minutes past 7, Amelia, as the sun is rising over the Adelaide Hills. Another beautiful sunrise, which we love.
There's nothing I love more than your recaps of sunrises too. Fun fact, my daughter, my 2-year-old daughter, loves Johnny Farnham.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Can't explain it. She loves Johnny Farnham, so I don't quite know how we uncovered that, but there you go.
Well, by the time she's 18, he'll probably be making a
might
comeback
be
tour.
touring again, I'll take
exactly.
it. Now, the big news of the morning is England has advanced to their second ever major tournament final, their first since 1966, with a 2-1 win over Denmark after extra time. We were watching it all in here. It was a controversial penalty, though. It'll be forgiven after past incidents like the hand of God against Argentina in 1986. The final is at 4:30 Adelaide time on Monday morning. England versus Italy. Italy have won the Euros once and the World Cup 4 times. Tell us on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line 0448 08 1395. Who are you going for, Aussies, Italy or England? Who are you adopting?
I think I'm going to go with England. I love the romance of them winning it for the first time, and and they've had a pretty rough trot.
I do love an underdog story.
Yeah, they've had a rough trot over there. They need a bit of joy in their lives. The all-new Kluger Hybrid has arrived at North Point Toyota. Book your test drive. It's the North Point way. Time now to recap the sports show last night. Timmy Ginniver was speaking with Matt Stewart. They were discussing Jamie Carr, who is just such a great story. She's on 99 Metropolitan winners, and they were talking with Matt Stewart about whether she was going to crack the ton and or when that might happen. Let's have a listen.
Alrighty, well, I put the jinx on it. Jamie Carr, last night I said, last shout, she'll get her 100th winner. Tomorrow at Sandown, I said it will happen. She's riding in all 8 races. It'll definitely happen, and it didn't. Now, from RSN Racing Sports Network, Matt Stewart. Matt, please, what happened? How did it not happen?
Oh, racing got in the way. The most unpredictable. A few of us actually, when we walked in, just said, you know what, racing could throw a curveball at this because it doesn't go to script and it doesn't believe in fairy tales. And she had 8 rides on any normal day when there wasn't such a big deal on the line, like winning 100 races. it would have just happened. She would have casually ridden 3 or 4. Every ride she had was under $4.80. 3 or 4 of them were favourites, and
Oh, no.
it just never worked out. She just never, ever got near it.
So does what happens now? Does the centenary cake that you were going to jump out of, does that have to go back in the fridge, or what happens now?
Exactly. I bought the budgie smokers out here in order to discuss. So it's all, everything's up in the air. So Jamie will now get a chance at Caulfield on Saturday, which may end up being a better result because it's going to be a bigger event on a Saturday. So it kind of almost, it's not a bad result that it didn't happen today. You'll back her in this time, I'm sure.
Now, you were just telling me you placed a little bet as well.
Oh, look, I just happened to be close to a TAB.
Likely story.
I was in a pub. And it got to the last race, and someone mentioned that she hadn't won her 100th. I thought, well, last race, surely, and she was on a reasonable thing. Didn't run a jump. So there you go. So I probably jinxed her in that last one. But anyway.
I just happened to be at Westfield Marion the other day, and well, what do you know? Just had to buy some clothes.
Yeah, well, that's the man's argument around having a bet, isn't it?
The TAB, they opened the door for me.
Well, it wasn't quite like that. But anyway, it will happen eventually. And when it does, she is rewriting racing. There was, for such a long time, there was a question mark whether female jockeys could, first of all, could be jockeys, then could they compete with men, and now what Jamie is doing is just showing there is no boundaries whatsoever.
There are some incredible stories coming out of that industry at the moment.
Yeah, she's doing what no other person has done before, male or female, which is so good because there's just such a swathe of young ladies now entering the industry or have been in the industry doing some great things. We're going to take a break for the news. Still plenty to come on the show, including Matt Abraham, who's going to give us his take on state politics.
5 out of 10, out of 10, every time.
This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Partly cloudy today and 16 with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. PhysioExtra.com.
There's been another stabbing, this time at Greenacres. Police were called to Weissel Street just before 8:30 last night, following reports of an altercation between 2 men and a woman. All 3 were taken to hospital, one with a stab wound to his back. Their injuries are not life-threatening. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says there was a stabbing south of the city the night before.
What's important for the public to realise is that, particularly these incidents that have occurred this week, is that the people who are involved are all known to each other. These aren't random incidents.
Border restrictions will be on the agenda when the State Transition Committee meets today. Police Commissioner Grant Stevens says they'll likely be relaxed with WA and the Northern Territory.
I'm sure that will be a great relief for people who are planning to get away during the school holidays or people who might feel like they've been stuck in those state or territories over the last few days.
Opening to parts of Queensland will also be discussed after the state recorded just 1 case yesterday. A rise in COVID infection rates in Sydney's southwest is expected in today's figures. Health officials believe the Delta strain is moving between households. Greater Sydney's lockdown has been extended by a week. The My Home Hospital program is expanding. It's now delivering care to those living outside the metropolitan area. And Health Minister Stephen Wade says patients can receive treatment for a wider range of conditions.
The things as diverse as post-operative care and chronic heart disease and intravenous antibiotics. These are important steps to help people have the opportunity to get the care they need at home to ease the pressure on our emergency departments.
A new report is predicting the boom and bust professions in Australia over the next 5 years. Nine's Lauren Howarth has the details.
The OECD's annual employment outlook predicts a surge in demand in Australia for IT employees, engineers and social workers in a post-pandemic world, while the shift towards remote working and changes in technology means office support staff will take a hit. Secretaries, switchboard operators and personal assistants are forecast to be among the 5 fastest declining occupations. Timber workers and mail sorters are also among the most vulnerable professions.
The United States has had a small victory in its extradition battle with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. The High Court in London has granted the US government permission to challenge a decision not to send Assange to the States to stand trial on espionage charges. A judge blocked Assange's extradition over fears about his mental health. Former US President Donald Trump says he is suing Facebook, Twitter and Google, as well as their chief executives, over alleged unlawful censorship. His social media accounts were suspended in the wake of the Capitol riots back in January. Mr. Trump says the class action lawsuits are for himself and the people of America.
We're demanding an end to the shadow banning, a stop to the silencing, and a stop to the blacklisting, banishing, and cancelling that you know so well.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Well, England is through to the Euro final after a dramatic 2-1 extra time win against Denmark. The winner coming via a very soft penalty. Harry Kane had the job from the spot. His spot kick was initially saved before he followed up to score. Audio there thanks to Optus. They'll now take on Italy in Monday morning's final. Adelaide forward Taylor Walker will be out to prove he's fully fit ahead of tomorrow night's match against Essendon. Walker hurt his neck against Brisbane but is a chance to play. It was a strange week for the Crows last week, having travelled to Melbourne midweek despite then playing at home. Defender Brodie Smith telling Timmy G it's been much more conventional this week.
Definitely one of the more bizarre weeks I've had, but yeah, much better this week just to know we were locked in for Friday night, and we're travelling over to get over a day before and get relaxed in Melbourne and get ready to go.
And tonight it's Port Adelaide versus Melbourne, which you can hear right here on 5AA. Well, the Wallabies have scrapped the win against France with a penalty goal in extra time. The Aussie side trailed 15-0 after 23 minutes in Brisbane, but sealed a dramatic 23-21 victory with a kick from Noah Lolesio. He says he's lost for words.
Obviously, with that first drop kick, I wanted to go probably an extra phase. I wasn't really ready for it. But, that's just footy for you, hey? Like, man, for my debut to this, I'm so proud of this team.
Yeah, great result. And Roger Federer has been knocked out of Wimbledon after going down in straight sets to Herbert Hurkacz. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Burton, got a car roll over Heaslip Road near Mill Road. Got changed traffic conditions this morning at Door Park, Goodwood Road and Springbank Road. Fair bit of work going on there, so look out for those detours in place. Northfield, there are changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road. And Crafers, speed restrictions on the freeway. That still applies for works in both directions. Look out for speed cameras today, Andrews Road, Andrews Farm and Seaview Road at Henley Beach. This week at Chemist Warehouse, the entire Sukin range is half price. Shop in-store or online now for half price off the Sukin range at Chemist Warehouse. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
16 for your Thursday and partly cloudy. Tomorrow much the same, 15, 17 on Saturday. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning, 7:36. The sun is up. The sun is shining. Matthew Abraham has joined us in the studio, which we love. Thanks to the mighty helpful Mitre 10. Good morning.
10 out of 10 every time.
That's twice it's got me this week. It does, right? Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, Mark. Amelia, good morning.
Good morning. Lovely to have you here, Matt. Big week
Good to
in
be
politics. Restrictions easing?
Yes, the restrictions we didn't need to have, like the recession we had to have eased. I'm a bit surprised that there are still restrictions at all on pubs. But when the Premier lifted them earlier in the week, Professor Nicholas Spurrier said, we must remember, mustn't forget there's still COVID in Australia. And I'm thinking, really? Like, even the grandkids are talking about COVID,
Well, it's quite funny. I'm the mum of a 2-year-old, so pretty much, in her all her life almost, past 18 months, this is what's been the norm. She goes up to the hand sanitizer stations in the supermarket and knows what to do there. Like that's it's a totally different new normal.
She's going to be a germaphobe for the rest of her life now.
Like her mum.
Oh dear! Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, we do.
Well, we've all become germaphobes. It is. And yeah, I've got a little grandson in primary school saying he's going to invent a vaccine that you don't have to have the needle. You just take a tablet. I thought, well, you do that, and you'll look after me in my
I'm high. Yeah,
later years. Kid.
Think of the fishing you'll do after that one, Matt.
Exactly.
We're surprised that you mentioned about the restrictions, and you're surprised about pubs even having any when 50,000 people can go to Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, exactly. But well, what happened was the restrictions that were put in place. You've got to remember, before this mining family, the fly-in, fly-out family, flew back in. The father did, and then the family caught it, and the little baby caught it. Now, that baby that caught it was added to the list of community transmission. Well, wait a minute. They're all in the one family in the one household. I didn't really count that as a random person in McDonald's or wherever.
The KFC Torrensville.
Getting it. So I think those restrictions were quite perplexing and unnecessary. They were imposed before that case happened. They were a preemptive strike. For what? And so we had no choirs, there was no singing. And then now, suddenly it's all okay. From what?
Could it have been, though, like the preemptive strike was in case someone like the miner came back and had it? If that wasn't in place, couldn't he have been walking around the community if he wasn't or he would have had to be in quarantine?
That's right.
Yeah.
They go into isolation for 14 days. So if we're going to have preemptive strikes for no cases, then, for me, this is never going to end. I can't see how this will ever end. And it has to end, we know that, but I hope we know that. But I can't see how this is ever going to end. Now, we've got a situation, and this may be reviewed by the Transition Committee today, but Canberra Airport is closed to South Australia. We won't accept flights from Canberra or people from Canberra, even though they have zero cases, like zero.
We did have Professor Nicholas Spurrier on earlier in the week, and she said that there are a number of cases, of people from Sydney who were there, whether they're isolating or what have you. That was the reasoning.
Grant Stevens said that it was difficult to track the amount of people coming in and out of Canberra from New South Wales because it was such a popular route. So there was
but there were no cases there. Well, they're doing testing as we are. There are no cases there. So sure, Canberra is, people do move in and out very easily from it. But if there are no cases in a whole state, then what's the case for keeping it shut? Like, are we going to end up in this total state of bureaucratic paranoia? And, we are. I actually, as a result of those restrictions last week, just talking to people outside the political spectrum and over quite a wide range of age groups, people are pissed off over it because they were seen as pointless. Now, if you're going to do something, I think there needs to be a clear and present danger, and there wasn't. So I'm almost sensing a turning of the tide here, that if there's a fatigue over this and a cynicism, then the government is going to be in trouble with this. Traditionally, the thought pattern has been right throughout this COVID that COVID benefits incumbent governments. It's a real winner for them because they're managing it. If it gets to the point of nitpicking over people's lives, preemptive strikes when there's no clear threat to South Australians, then I think that's going to become a big political negative for the government.
The only thing the counter argument I would put to that is that Gladys Berejiklian had been the poster child for keeping the community open, yet it didn't work because it got to the point now where they're in lockdown. So I think it's a polarising issue because, like you said, many people are like you. Why are we doing this? This is too conservative. Yet I speak to people who are saying, good, and don't let anyone in, and this is our patch, and I'm happy to do it. But they're not people who own businesses, and they're not people who rely on that. But it is a polarising subject because depending on what your circumstances are, your view of the world can be so different.
Exactly, and I think everyone's in favour of people going into 14-day isolation until it happens to you or a family member. Everyone's in favour of restrictions until you've got a wedding planned and it doesn't go ahead, or your sister or brother can't come to the wedding, or your mother, or your father's dying and you can't go visit them, or your mother's dying and can't go visit them, or you're running a business. You have a look at the pubs, which are huge employers in South Australia and have borne the brunt of this, and they're running on, they're back at healthy levels, but they're not back at the sort of good levels that a business needs to be at. And I don't know how long, how sustainable that's going to be in the long run.
Turning our attention to South Road.
Yes.
Extension.
Yes. Well, this is last night. I was reading in the Tiser there are going to be some 400 homes acquired for the tunnels, the twin tunnels, under what is the missing link of South Road, the hard bit as they call it, near, I know your favourite place.
I dispute the hard bit, but
yes,
yeah.
Castle Plaza. That's it. You know, if you have to do it
all day, every day. That's
right.
That's one of the worst stretches of South Road.
Of course, it's an absolute nightmare.
You go there at 2:30 in the afternoon, and it's jammed.
Yeah, I know. So some 400 homes are going to be acquired. If you look at that, that's the border of Morphett and Elder. Now, Morphett's a safe seat. Elder is not. It's a Liberal seat. It's on 2%. Carolyn Power holds that. It'll be interesting to see what happens if Labor exploit the unease and the handling of this. The government, I think, is going to have to be very, very careful about how it goes about booting people out. Can you imagine if you're in a house? I know people have known it's coming, and you're saying, 18 months, you've got to go. You've got to move. See you, Amelia. Bye. Move. 18 months. Pack up. It's a big thing for people. And I think there's going to be a lot of angst over it. It's going to need to be really carefully managed by the government.
The thing is, once there is that ruling as well, though, it's, your house value drop. I mean, obviously there's a compensation there and all of that, but there are no options once it's ruled that's what's happening.
That's it. Now, you've got a plan. I think, Amelia...
Just go back a step. I'm a political novice. 400 people. Does that matter in a seat like that, or is it?
Oh yeah.
Because my take is, I'm not in that seat, but I want South Road to have a tunnel, or this is.
It's not going to matter if you're outside that seat. I can tell you.
But I want that to happen,
Exactly.
and I know, unfortunately, for those 400 people or whatever it is, I just hope that they are able to handle that whole thing well, so that it's not as traumatic as what some people have had.
Yeah. And I know you like to be able to get along that, because I heard this morning you're at Maslin's looking at the whales.
I got a lot of strange looks as I got my binoculars out of the case at Maslin's Beach. It's
now, Amelia, quickly, your solution, because you have a solution for the Castle Plaza problem.
It doesn't take a lot for traffic to bother me. There are just too many traffic lights along that stretch. But once you get off the bridge from that goes over Cross Road. And even then, traffic's always banked up on that bridge too.
Emerson overpass.
There are that many sets of traffic lights between there and Oaklands or Dawes Road?
Yeah.
There are that many sets of traffic lights. Surely some of them can either go, or you can do there's just a pedestrian crossing. Can that be an overpass?
And save
for the interim. I'm just saying for the interim. I think
permanently. I don't think they should fix it. I think they should do what you're saying. Come up with another solution and save $9 billion. That's what it's going to cost.
A lot of money.
Well, for the very least, though, that stretch is horrible at any time of day. It's not quick.
Because you want to get into... I mean, I'm wearing a skivvy from Lowe's at Castle Plaza, if you must know. 2 for $20.
There's a great food land in there as well.
Get onto it, man.
They compliment your sneens.
Have you got a rating for us?
I have. Now, as you know, everything is about the vaccination, and there's two classes of people. There's the AZs and the Pfizer's people. And this is Jimmy Giggle, but it's a skit he does. He's impersonating some, I think, fairly well-heeled ladies who have been discussing their Botox jabs.
Babes, I got another jab. Another jab? Do tell. Darling, I got the Pfizer jab. The Pfizer jab? Yes, darling, the Pfizer jab. Pfizer. Oh. Are you okay, darling? Well, why the shocked face, darling? Oh, well, they did not. You got the AZ. They gave me the AZ. The AZ. Darling, you didn't look a day over 45. The AZ, not the Pfizer. No Pfizer for me. I can't believe they gave you the AZ. Apparently it's not how old you look, it's how old you actually are. Unbelievable. How dare they give you the AZ?
What shock! What shock!
Where was that recorded?
So look, we're giving Jimmy Giggle 10 out of 10.
I like that. It's not how old you look, it's how old you actually are.
I never thought of that, having to go in and showing your age to see which vaccine. That's going to create a lot of angst, isn't it? Hey, yeah, thank you very much, Matthew, and thanks to the mighty helpful Mitre 10 who bring us Matt each and every week. Time now to do the traffic. After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Burton this morning, got a car all over Heaslip Road near Mill Road. Expect a few delays if you are heading that way. Northfield, a changed traffic condition there on the intersection of Grange Junction Road and Hampstead Road. That's for the intersection upgrade. Crayford, speed restrictions on the freeway. They still apply for works in both directions. Look out for roadworks today. Semaphore Road near Jenkins Street, Birkenhead, speeds down to 40 k's. Cameras on the drive-in today, Military Road, Taparoo and Phillip Highway, Elizabeth. From restaurants to hairdressers and everything in between, stop paying FPOS bills. Talk to SmartPay today. Call 1-800-841 790 now. Minimum turnover and T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
I'm Georgie Dent, Executive Director of The Parenthood, a community of over 72,000 parents and carers. Every day, families tell me that Australia's early learning and childcare system is outdated and too expensive. It prevents women from getting back into the workforce and kids are missing out. National Cabinet is meeting and childcare is on the agenda. Tell them we need a high-quality, affordable, universal system at thriveby5.org.au.
Authorised by Minduru Foundation, Perth.
This July, a world premiere event, Eclipse, Pink Floyd orchestrated. Southern Cross Symphony and an ensemble of Australia's finest rock musicians reignite the awe-inspiring sound of Pink Floyd in all its glory. 40 musicians and singers perform all the hits, Us and Them, Comfortably Numb, and Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Saturday, July 17 at Festival Theatre. Book now at Bass.
Building amazing homes is important to Beechwood Homes, and so is the environment. So when you build with Beechwood, you're building a better environment for our kids and grandkids. Around 70% of scrap materials from every Beechwood home is recycled. Bricks, rubble, timber, gyprock and steel, none of it goes to landfill. It's all sorted and recycled. So life really is good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Take a look at the stunning Beechwood display home in Blackwood Park.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. 5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show. It's 10 minutes to 8. Every day this week we are doing a Dinosaur of the Day to give away VIP tickets to Jurassic Creatures. It stomped into Edwards Park, Anzac Highway on my way home yesterday. There was a line-up to get in, if you can believe that. It was absolutely going great guns. It's fantastic, we're hearing. You can hear them raw until July 25th. Tickets are through Ticketmaster. 8223 0055 is the number to call. Amelia?
Basically, we'll give you a series of clues. You need to tell us what the dinosaur is. This one's not as easy today. That's what I'll tell you for now.
You might just want to get your National Geographics out or your Funk and Wagnalls and just... Do people have encyclopedias anymore? We used to have encyclopedias when we grew up. That's
yeah, but then they'd go out of date after like a year. But everyone had the glass cabinet with the doors that you'd open and you'd have them lined up on display.
A thing called Google come in, didn't it? That sort of...
Doesn't look as nice on a shelf, does it?
Fix things up. Okay, let's have a look at the weather. Amelia, what have we got for us today?
Absolutely. Not as cold overnight as what we thought it would be. We stayed in the double digits, a low of around 10.2. A few clouds around today, 16 degrees, the forecast top. Renmark was the coldest place in the state, down to minus 0.4 degrees. Now, if you're heading to the footy tonight, of course, we know that we can have 50,000 fans at Adelaide Oval to see Port take on Melbourne. It'll be around 12 degrees at the first bounce, and we shouldn't see any rain and just sort of moderate northeasterly winds around. But, 12 degrees, still cool. So,
take a scarf.
Yeah, certainly with the winds around, might bump up the chill factor a little, so definitely rug up. Friday, there is a chance of a shower in the afternoon with a bit of cloud around, 15 degrees the forecast top. Saturday is my pick of the week, 17 degrees, mostly sunny.
Well, that worked well, didn't it? Best weather on Saturday.
Yeah, and we've been in this real trend over the past couple of weeks too of having just showers and wintry weather to lead us into the weekend. So Saturday, get out and enjoy it, especially for poor parents who, spend all day at kids' sport. They would have been rugged up in the Kathmandu and all of that. So, not a bad one considering we're in the thick of winter. Sunday, we could see a shower. Again, maybe on Monday, but our best chance of possibly some good rainfall is in the middle of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll keep an eye on those days when, that system gets a little bit closer. We've only had about 15 millimetres in the West Terrace gauge so far. The average for this month is around 65.9, so a little less than what we expect to see in June. And of course, we know in June we smashed our rainfall average total with, over 100 millimetres in the West Terrace gauge and at the Bickley's gauge as well.
Yeah, just out in my backyard. We were well over 100, which was great. Tina has joined us from Mitchell Park. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning, guys. How are we?
We're very well now. Well, I hope you've been brushing up on your Jurassic creatures here, because we want to give you these great tickets for VIP passes, food and drink vouchers, dinosaur toy sets chucked in as well. So here we go, Tina. We'll hand you over to Amelia.
Thank you.
Okay, Tina. I lived about 75 million years ago along with the T-Rex. The meaning of my name is Quick Plunderer. I could grow to only 6 feet in length and weigh less than 30 kilos. I'm very agile, with powerful back legs and shorter front legs. This is one of my last clues.
Sounds like my husband so far.
How old is he? Could be, maybe.
75 million years.
I have a long tail that sticks out straight while running. It's held rigid by strong muscles and specially adapted bones.
And Tina, I was a bit of the star in Jurassic Park as well.
Raptor.
Oh, congratulations. We're going to go with that.
I was hoping it was...
The technical term is the Velociraptor.
Did your husband tell you that one, Tina, or is it one of his friends?
I can name the ones in Jurassic. There's Delta and anyway.
Oh,
Isn't it amazing? Those ones.
Isn't it amazing what that movie did to our dinosaur knowledge?
I know. It's the only place I've got my dinosaur knowledge from.
Who are you going to take, Tina?
Oh, I've got a little lad and one of his mates and my husband, I suppose. So you know some people
he
there.
can make some connections, exactly. Thank you so much, Tina.
It's awesome.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
You've got the 4 VIP lanyards and passes, food and drink vouchers for each person, 2 dinosaur toy sets. It's open till the 25th of July. Jurassic Creatures tickets through Ticketmasters. We're going to take a break. Still plenty to come on the show, including Transport Minister Corey Wingard. We're going to talk wine with Chester Osborne.
And of course, if you do have any questions for the Transport Minister, make sure you send us a text on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line 0448 08 1395. A lot going on this week in terms of transport, whether you're in Mount Barker or around South Road. So if you've got a question for him, let us know.
When you think surgery, you think hospital, right? Well, Dr. Greg Keane wants you to think SportsMed.
SportsMed is the only purpose-built orthopaedic hospital in the country, with world-class nursing and theatre staff, a first-class catering team, and the latest innovations in patient treatment and care.
And your surgeons?
We're experts in all procedures for hips, knees, feet, ankles, shoulders, elbows, wrists and hands.
All your treatments, all your care. One place. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your successful surgery.
Sportsmed.com.au.
Up to 50% off King mattresses and ensembles now at Harvey Norman. That's right. Bigger the size, bigger the deal on selected Australian-made mattresses and ensembles. Up to 30% off double, up to 40% off queen, and up to 50% off king mattresses and ensembles. Our range includes the best names in Australian-made mattresses from Sealy Posturepedic, King Coil by AH Beard, Sleepmaker, and Beauty Rest. Up to 50% off king mattresses and ensembles. Bigger the size, bigger the deal on selected Australian-made mattresses and ensembles in-store only. Now at Harvey Norman.
The new FIVEaa Player app lets you listen to all your favourite FIVEaa shows, news and podcasts wherever you go. Take David and Will on your morning walk. Listen to Pilco and one of his many guests while you tend your garden. Have a laugh at the shops with John Blake. And talk footy with Rowie, Stud and Treaders in your shed. The FIVEaa Player app lets you do all that and more. So download the app and take FIVEaa wherever you go.
The FIVEaa Player.
So they reckon there's thousands of jobs available. But I want to find the right job near me.
There's a new South Aussie job board focusing on local, metro and regional areas. Recruitsmart.com.au and SA Family Business posts and promotes jobs for local employers. If you're looking for a job, there's no need to sign up. Just search and apply. It's simple, quick and easy.
They're also set up to show regional jobs. Maybe I need a tree change.
You need to search smart with recruitsmart.com.au.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
FIVEaa Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning. You're waking up to 5AA breakfast. A little bit of sun outside, which is quite pleasant. It's just on 3 minutes to 8. Time now for the best of Blakey. Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
There's a bed in there, and a chair as well. Open wide, come inside. It's Play School.
Hello, I'm John.
And I'm Sally.
And today is Pretending Day on Play School.
That's right, and today we're pretending to be ambulance workers.
Oh, yes. Here's Jemima. She's a paramedic.
Oh, that's an important job. Jemima looks a bit tired.
Yes, well, she hasn't had much sleep lately.
Come on, Jemima, what's wrong? What's that? You're overworked.
Uh-oh, here comes Big Ted, and he's the boss of the ambulance service. Here he comes. Oi, oi, oi! I'm the big boss of the ambulance service. Stop talking, there's too much talking. Stop all this talking.
Oh, Big Ted doesn't like people talking.
No. We've got a song about that.
Yes, you can sing along if you like.
Public service are great. They do a lot for us but don't need to elaborate. Public service have got the knack for telling workers if they speak they might get the sack. Public service, it's important, but if you like your job then keep your big trap shut. That's a good song, isn't it? We had 17 more verses, but we've run out of time.
Yes, we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Hey, John, why don't I pretend to be an ambo that's trying to talk and you can be the CEO of the ambulance service?
Oh, good idea, yeah. Excuse me, what are you doing?
I'm just talking about the problems in the ambulance service.
Well, don't.
Why not?
Because we don't want anyone to know there are problems in the ambulance service.
But they already know there are problems.
Yes, I know that, but we don't want anyone to know that we know that.
Well, that's unreasonable.
Oh, be quiet, stop talking.
There you go. John Blake, you'll have more of Best of Behind Closed Doors later on this morning.
Now, there's something I've been wanting to share with you, Bix, because
Yes.
I know you are a cat owner.
Cat lover.
Cat lover.
2 cats.
Yes, passionate cat lover. I am the owner of one dog, British Bulldog, named Barclay.
That's original.
I liked it.
Okay.
Anyway, there's been some research done. Researchers have surveyed 400 people during lockdown,
Yes.
and these are researchers from James Cook University. And they've made some findings. Firstly, owning a pet made no difference to mindfulness, because we do know,
Really?
during lockdowns, a lot of people went out, and this is wonderful, and adopted animals, and and got family pets and stuff, and that's great, particularly when it comes to pet adoptions. They did find, I just want to share this with you, dog owners less lonely than cat owners. You're feeling lonely, Bix. Is there something we need to talk about?
No. We're very happy. Our 2 cats sleep on our bed. They're very nice. They're cuddly. They're comforting. So all the things you want from a pet.
They also found cat owners were less mindful than people who had no pets at all.
Who listens? 400 people. That's like a drop in the ocean. When they'd have 50,000 people, then I'm starting to listen. Anyway, we've got to go to the news, Amelia.
Hook, line and sinker.
Next time you come up with some ridiculous study, don't
come up with it.
Don't raise it with me. Thank you very much. We're going to take a break. We'll get serious on the other side of the 8 o'clock news, because Corey Wingard, Transport Minister, is going to join us.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy 16 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
Australia could be COVID normal by Melbourne Cup Day, with enough vaccine supply for herd immunity expected by then. Nine's Jonathan Kersley has more.
Data analyst Kenneth Sang has told the Herald Sun there could be enough supply of vaccine in the country for 80% of the adult population by the first Tuesday in November. The analysis doesn't take into account batch testing or distribution times, and other analysis has shown we might not have 80% of the population fully vaccinated until the end of January. The Doherty Institute is also working on modelling for vaccine targets to guide the Prime Minister's roadmap out of the pandemic, which at the moment has no vaccine goals to reopen the country.
The State Transition Committee will meet today to discuss border restrictions. It's likely they'll be relaxed with WA and the Northern Territory. Opening to parts of Queensland will also be considered, but the New South Wales border will stay shut after the state reported 27 cases yesterday. A woman's been arrested after crashing her car twice while trying to evade police. Officers attempted to speak to her at Croydon Park around 3:45 this morning, but she took off. She lost control and crashed into a traffic light at the intersection of Regency and Days Roads. She kept going but crashed into a tree a short time later. The 23-year-old has been treated for minor injuries and is facing a string of charges, including driving while disqualified and unregistered and possessing prescription medication. There'll be a court appearance today. An altercation between two men and a woman at Greenacres is under investigation. Police were called to Weissel Street just after 8:30 last night. One man received a stab wound to his back, while the other man and a woman suffered assault injuries. All three were taken to hospital. Their condition is not life-threatening. Haiti's president has been assassinated in his own home. Nine's Michael Genovese reports.
Jovenel Moise was killed and his wife was shot when intruders broke into their home early this morning. Haiti's acting Prime Minister has declared a state of emergency. The country's ambassador to the US says armed men pretended to be drug enforcement officials before killing the 53-year-old. Moise's right to the presidency was a contentious issue, with escalating violence on the streets of the country's capital. His wife, Martine Moise, has been evacuated to a hospital in Miami. She's in a critical but stable condition.
A Chinese gaming giant is rolling out facial recognition to stop children circumventing a government curfew. Young gamers have been using adults' ID to get around the ban between 10 at night and 8 in the morning. Now anyone playing for a certain length of time will require a facial scan to prove they're an adult. The 2-week rescue effort to find survivors in the rubble of that collapsed apartment building in Miami has now shifted its focus to recovery. 10 more bodies have been discovered, raising the confirmed death toll to 46. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fluorio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide is hoping to cement its spot in the top 4 tonight when it takes on Melbourne at Adelaide Oval. The Power welcome back Zach Butters and Tom Cleary for the blockbuster, while the D's will bring in forward Ben Brown. Connor Rosie will be there for Port, the 21-year-old copping the wrath of the Hawks fans last week as he was booed every time he went near the footy. Rosie telling Timmy G it didn't worry him.
Yeah, loved it. It was probably one of the first times I've been properly booed, so it seemed like I got under their skin a little bit and might have to try and do that to a few other teams.
The Crows and Bombers will release their sides tonight ahead of tomorrow night's match at Marvel Stadium. To soccer, England has booked a place in the Euro final for the first time in history after beating Denmark 2-1 in extra time.
English history, England into a European Championship final for the very first time. Wembley will host its own nation at the climax of a major tournament.
Audio there thanks to Optus. The score was locked at 1-1 at the end of regulation before English captain Harry Kane scored the winner. England now to face Italy in the final. Roger Federer has lost to Herbert Hurkacz in straight sets in the Wimbledon quarter-finals. No such problems for Novak Djokovic as he breezed past Marton Fucsovics in straight sets. The Wallabies have recorded a 23-21 point win against France in their test match in Brisbane overnight. Belgium's Wout van Aert has claimed stage 11 of the Tour de France, while Tadej Pogacar retains the yellow jersey. And round 17 of the NRL kicks off tonight with Manly hosting Canberra at Brookvale Oval. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Noarlunga Downs, got a dead kangaroo on Main South Road. That's just before the Southern Expressway as you're heading north. Burton got a car roll over Heaslip Road near Mill Road. Northfield changed traffic conditions this morning. That's at the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road for the intersection upgrade. And Crafers speed restrictions on the freeway still apply for works in both directions. Cameras on the drive-in this morning, Main North Road, Hillbank and Sampson Road at Elizabeth Grove. After 50 years, ITP know how to maximise your tax refund. With 10 locations across Adelaide, book an appointment today at itp.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic. on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
16, partly cloudy for your Thursday. Tomorrow much the same and 15. Saturday mostly sunny, 17. Right now it is 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Show. It's 7 minutes past 8, 11 degrees outside, slightly overcast today. There was a little bit of sunshine earlier, but that's gone behind the clouds. And Amelia, we've been talking transport all week.
It's been a really big topic, and like yesterday, there was, the news that a number of homes and businesses would be demolished in roughly 18 months' time to make road for phase 1 of the massive South Road Tunnels project. It's a huge project. Billions of dollars. It's going to shave off travel time for, enormous number of people that use that road. But of course, as homes and businesses have to relocate, it's going to impact people as well. Here's what a few of the people impacted told 7 News yesterday.
This is not just for me, it was my mum's life savings, it was everything.
We all knew it was coming, but just not this soon. We've been told a year and a half, and that's really not long enough to get prepared and start planning for relocation and, financial stability.
Now we've got to find somewhere else to live because our house is not going to be here.
We can't start looking for another place until we know what's going on, how much we're getting.
Look after small business. We're the ones that keep the economy going.
We do have Transport Minister Corey Wingard joining us now. Corey, welcome to the program. And I guess listening to that, there are critics out there who are obviously not impacted by this, who would say perhaps it's the price for progress, but I guess there's no easy way to make that decision.
Yeah, good morning, guys. And look, you are right in your intro there, talking about this being the biggest infrastructure project South Australia's ever seen, biggest road infrastructure project. And of course, we have got that 78 kilometres of the north-south corridor and the hardest 10 or so kilometres to go. We did come out in not the most recent budget, but last year's budget, saying this is the project we're going to do. We are going with a hybrid plus model. You might remember the previous government was looking at that open cut model, and by pivoting to the tunnels and the hybrid plus model there, the two tunnel model, we have managed to save 480 homes. So at every turn, that's what we're looking to do, is to save people's properties. But with a big infrastructure project like this, unfortunately, properties do have to be acquired. We are very sensitive to that. We've been out speaking with the people in the community since late last month. We went to them first, and we've always said that's what we'll do. And now that we have a boundary, and what we're talking about here is the southern laydown area. So this is where the two big tunnel boring machines will be launched from for the southern tunnel. They'll go in at around the old Mitsubishi site at Tonsley there, Darlington, where the southern part of the north-south corridor finishes. They'll go in there and they'll come up at around the Anzac Highway, Gallipoli underpass. So, look, this is a really, really big project, some 4,500 jobs with the whole project. But that southern tunnel, we actually got clear line of sight, clear visual mapping, if you like, of the properties that we needed to take and the space that needed to be used to launch these tunnels. So as soon as we've had that definitively, we've been able to go to the community and say this is what's going on, and we'll work with them over the next 18 months through this process.
Now, one of the women who was interviewed yesterday, her complaint was, we just don't know what we can do because we don't know. Can you guarantee them effective communication and perhaps appropriate compensation?
Yeah, for sure. And we have actually changed the legislation in this space to make sure that people are really fairly compensated here. And those negotiations will start now, then we'll get valuations done, and that will progress. Again, until we actually knew that exact footprint, we couldn't actually go to people and say, these are the spaces that we need to acquire. So we're doing that now. We'll work through that with them. There were some people that were in tenanted properties whereby we went to the owners of those properties and asked for details for the tenants, and they wouldn't divulge those, which is their right, but that did make it a little bit more inconvenient. We're working through with those people now, and we'll continue to do that.
Corey, you've got a little bit of experience in this because there was an issue surrounding what was going to happen potentially on Brighton Road with a rail overpass, underpass, and the acquiring of properties. A lot of the ructions there were people who were saying, I just cannot get another property for the compensation that I've given, that it's at the same level. Can you appease people's fears and say there will be adequate compensation. You will be able to get to the standard that you had somewhere else, somewhere close by, for a lot of these people who have lived there a long time.
Yeah, so the valuation process it works quite simply. We get the government gets an independent valuer to go out and do a valuation. If people don't like that valuation, they can go and get an independent valuer to do that. If there's disparity between the two, we sit down and there's a mediation between the two people there. So that's a process that we'll go through now. Again, it's done by people independent of government to give that valuation. So we'll start working through everyone on that process.
So is that the next step, Minister, to begin valuations and approach people with, hey, your house is worth X amount?
Exactly, yeah, that's how we'll do it. The other part of this, obviously, is with the project, this is the southern end of the tunnel, if you like, the southern end of the southern tunnel where the tunnel boring machines will be launched from. As we have a definitive outline of the other areas where it will be impacted, we'll go to the community with that. We went to the community with this first before we made it public through the media because we wanted to engage as many people as possible. Adelaide being Adelaide, you only have a sort of certain period of time before the media will pick up on it. We appreciate that. But what we are doing is the reference design for the full tunnel. Always said that would be done by the second half of this year, so that will be done by the end of the year. But what I want to be clear on here is, as we have sections that we definitively know the area and the space we need, we will take that to that local community. So as we know, we'll let the communities know, and at the end of that chain, we'll have the full reference design that we can show everyone. But we're not going to wait right to the end. If we know sections along the way, we'll engage with people as soon as possible to give them as much time as possible.
Now, another local community we've been speaking to on the show this week, Minister, is residents in Mount Barker who obviously, you know, Mount Barker is a huge growth suburb earmarked for more, and there is a real concern about transport there, whether it is for drivers using the freeway or perhaps just, you know, bus services. Do they need a train? There was a meeting this week where a number of politicians went to and roughly a couple of hundred of the community as well. Why weren't you there?
Yeah, I had other commitments. But if I can just put this in context, we've got a $17.9 billion infrastructure spend across South Australia over the next 4 years. 8.8 of that I'm spending on transport and infrastructure. We're investing more in transport and infrastructure in South Australia than the history of this state over a 4-year period. So we've got a lot of projects on the go right across the state, and I'm here to cover the whole state. We had two local members that were there from our side of politics, very good people in touch with their local community, and I work very closely with them. The Hills is an issue, and we're doing a lot of work in the Hills just to run through some of the stuff we are doing. The resurfacing of the Southeastern Freeway. So we're actually fixing this up, and this is something that hasn't been done for a long, long period of time, and we're doing it at great length to make the actual surface and the road safe as possible. So we're doing that. We've done the work up to Crapers. We've got work to do on the tunnel as well, and then work to do past the tunnel and up to Crapers as well. So we're getting on with doing that, and that's actually shown really good improvements for the local people. In fact, the new surface actually reduces the noise of the freeway, which is something we hear about a lot. $250 million going into a Harndorf interchange as well, so we're investing heavily there. And you would have heard, and this came through from the consultation up in the Hills, that the freight bypass is really important as well. Now, we've already invested $12 million in upgrading this. We've also got $200 million for the Truro bypass, which is all part of this Greater Adelaide Freight Bypass to get really big trucks and get freight off the Southeastern Freeway and get it going around the back. So if we can build this road to the standard for what's called PBS Level 4 trucks, which are the A-triples, we can get freight off around the back and take freight off the Southeastern Freeway. So there's a number of aspects that need to be worked through with this. And I know, speaking to the regional development people who were at this forum as well, they're very supportive of that. And also the rapid bus transit, we're doing a planning study on that as well, because this has been left to go for a long, long period of time. So we're looking at opportunities there that can improve that. And rapid bus transit works really well in Sydney and Brisbane. And, of course, we have the O-Bar, which is a form of rapid bus transit. So we'll look to explore what we can do there as well.
Okay, we've got the Minister for Transport, Corey Wingard, on the phone talking all things transport. There's a lot going on this week. If you do have a question for him, send us a text on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line 0448 08 1395. Andrew from Rosedale has sent in a text saying he has a big issue with speed restrictions at roadworks. He understands that we need the safety for roadworks, but when they're working behind barriers or there are no workers around at all, why are there restrictions, Minister?
Yeah, this is a really good question, and we actually moved some legislation and some regulations around this because it is frustrating when you do see road signs and nothing's going on. So we've put regulations in place where companies that are doing this and there is no justified reason can get an expiation fine, so some $1,200 I think it is, for that. And that's actually worked really well, working with those roadworks companies as well. They're supportive of this because they don't want to see it happen as well. I mentioned that $8.8 billion, that the jobs it's creating, and these are some of the jobs, but we don't want that inconvenience. So by putting these regulations in place, we think that's really helped. What people do need to be aware of, and I learned this coming into the job, not being an engineer, but when roads are resurfaced, there is a time and a period whereby they need to be bedded down. So they need a certain amount of hours to do this, and also a certain number of vehicles run over them to bed them down to make them safe. So sometimes after road work, there is a period, and people say, hey, nothing's really going on. Why is this? And there is a bedding down period, so that's something for people to be aware. But again, we have put those regulations in place. So if people see something and they want to report it, please do so. We understand with all that work that's going on, that I stressed, that $8.8 billion, there will be roadworks right around South Australia. We need to do this work. It's important work. It's fixing our road network that needs fixing, and it's creating jobs. And we ask people to bear with us, but we will lift those speed restrictions at the earliest convenience.
How do you report it?
It's just the Traffic Management Centre. There's a phone number. Jump on the DIT website, the Department of Infrastructure and Transport website. You can get the traffic management number there, phone and report it.
We're putting it out during peak hour, so that'll be interesting, Minister. We've also had a message from Karen on the live stream. How can people find houses to live in? So this is obviously going back to South Road here, when there are little to no houses to buy or rent. And it begs the question, when obviously the Valuer General values your house for rates purposes, for example, it's often, less than what the market would offer your house, especially when you consider what's going on in real estate now. Anyone who watches the real estate markets, and we have them on the show often, is saying that houses are going for tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands over what the Valuer General would put on their rates notices. Yeah. How does the government do this? Where will the valuations fall?
Yeah, again, to be clear, I think I outlined this a minute ago, but we get an independent valuer in to have a look and put that valuation there. If you don't agree with that valuation, you have the right to go and get your own valuation on that property.
Could that hold this process up, though, Minister, significantly?
No, again, there's 18 months here. I need to be really clear on this. This is why we've gone out as early as we have. There's 18 months before, the major work start on this. So we will go through that process. We'll put valuations on properties, and this happens with property acquisition all the way through. We'll put that valuation on, and then if people disagree, they can go and get a valuation as well, and we'll work with them on that. And if there is disparity, then we can sit down and mediate and work our way through that as well.
And just while we've got you, Minister, there's been a bit of talk around, we're going to the northeastern suburbs now, about charging for people who use the park and rides. There's obviously a new one that's going to be built over at Tea Tree Plaza. Where's that at in terms of charging?
Yeah. No, we're doing exactly the same as what the previous Labor government had as policy, and there is a small charge on people that use the park and ride there at Modbury on the current one, and it will be the same on the new one. It would be unfair not to have the same across both park and ride establishments.
Minister Corey Wingard, thanks for your time.
Good to chat to you guys.
Thanks, Minister.
Corey Wingard there, Minister for Transport, covered a few issues there. Didn't quite get time to get back to the Southeastern Freeway and Mount Barker. Look, I hear all the stuff that's happening around different things with the bypasses and stuff for heavy vehicles, but I think most people just want to know that if Mount Barker is planned to expand rapidly and get over 50,000 people, is there a plan in place for the Southeastern Freeway to be able to take that extra capacity? And as yet, I'm yet to hear it from anyone. And we had Rebecca Sharkey on the other day saying, we're getting information, we're looking at things, but it just doesn't seem like there's a plan at the minute. Anyway, thank you to all those people who sent us texts on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. Time now to check the latest traffic. After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
Got a dead kangaroo no longer Downs this morning. That's on Main South Road just before the Southern Expressway as you're heading north. Burton got a car all over Heaslip Road near Mill Road. Expect delays if you're heading that way. Northfield changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road for the intersection upgrade. And Crafers, speed restrictions on the freeway still apply for works in both directions. Busy on the drive-in, Millswood, Goodwood Road, Francis Street to Victoria Street, and that is inbound. Shop local with Adelaide Central Market online. Handpicked by market traders, shop the best fresh produce and house-made goodies straight to your door. Order now for next trade day delivery. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
It's like counting the Stobie poles on your way to the bay, or getting wherever you need to go in 20 minutes or less. From Gawler to Goolwa, from Deep Creek to Dry Creek. The things that make our state great. It's who we are. Local, iconic, proud. There is SASAA. Live, local, and always informing Adelaide. 5AA.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. At Lynn Andrews Real Estate, we've seen a lot of change in the property market over the last 50 years, but one thing remains constant: our passion to help people invest in the future, to build strong property portfolios in commercial and residential real estate. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share with you. We are here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Peter Shearer Menswear is the brand with the brands. For more than 50 years, our experience has put us ahead of the latest fashion trends. Always. As the largest independently owned menswear brand in South Australia, we will match any genuine price on identical items. Always. But most importantly, our staff are helpful, honest, and understand all body shapes are unique. The Peter Shearer Menswear commitment to ensuring customer satisfaction means we give right and honest advice. Always. Peter Shearer Menswear. Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker, and online.
Tasting notes, whether they're for wine, coffee or even chocolate, sometimes they make you feel like you need a science degree or thesaurus to decipher what they're trying to say.
Well, here's an easy one to understand. A delectable ripe raspberry flavoured centre smothered in rich, luscious white chocolate.
Well, that could be only one thing. The new White Choc Raspberry Fruit Chocs. They're very delicious and almost impossible to share, though you could be convinced to share them, maybe.
Well, I tell you what, we had a celebrity endorsement. Tom Duday had them yesterday. Once I had my hand out of the bag, and he really liked them. So if you're offered to mow someone's lawn or wash their car or walk their dog, maybe even do the washing, maybe they'll share their fantastic new White Choc Raspberry Fruit Chocs with you.
Or you could just get some for yourself so you don't have to convince anyone. The new White Choc Raspberry Fruit Chocs, try them today.
For over 36 years, Steinborner certified cars has always exceeded expectations on value, service and selection, and that continues. That's why it's always well worth a trip to Steinborner certified cars in Gawler, Nuriutpa and Clare for great deals on new and demo Hyundai, Ford and Mitsubishis, plus SA's biggest and best range of used cars. Make the trip to one of Steinborner's 8 dealerships or view the whole range of cars now at steinborner.com.au and join the thousands who know. Steinborner certified cars. It's well worth the trip.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning and welcome to the 5AA Sports Show. It's 25 minutes past 8 and looking forward to our next guest. He's the chief winemaker at the Darrenberg Cube. What a great South Aussie icon that is. His name is Chester Osborne. Chester, good morning.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Hello,
we are
Chester.
Great and all the better for speaking to you. Read yesterday that we are experiencing a unicorn year in grapes in South Australia. Firstly, can you explain what that means? But it sounds like it's pretty good.
Yeah, I suppose that means it's really rare. It did actually happen, this one, for those believers.
Yeah.
We had the biggest crop we've had for a long time. In fact, it was the biggest Shiraz crop ever that we've had in Australia.
Great.
Which is really timely considering the last 2 vintages have been horrible vintages. But Shiraz was up 41% compared to last year, which is pretty wild.
Now, Chester, it was almost a perfect storm in terms of weather conditions for you last year as well, it sounds.
Yeah, that's how it works. We had a really great winter, really good spring rains. They set really well. The weather was really good at flowering. And then good February 1st, a rain of nearly 2 inches, which is, I should talk in, it was 45 millimetres.
Thank you.
I knew what you're talking about, Chester.
and that's double normal. But when you've got a big crop, you really want a reasonable amount of rain behind them or water, to keep the vines going, keep ripening. And then there was no stress through all of the summer,
Mild
autumn
summer.
period. Just no heat waves and really dry. April and March. So it was perfect conditions for ripening. You know, people talk about a little crop is always really good because you're going to get concentrated grapes, but as long as you don't get that rain in March, April, then a bigger crop and no stress will still ripen and still get concentrated wine. So we're all pretty excited about the quality and the quantity.
Chester, is the demand there for it? Because obviously, you know, we've had issues with the Chinese market, to say the least. But I do recall last time I bumped into you at Tasting Australia, you were telling me about some a new market that you found in Russia.
Yeah, well, it's new to many. We've actually been there for nearly 20 years and doing really well in Russia. In fact, I've done about 15 cities of webinars, virtual tastings, in the last few months with Russian cities. So that's been quite fun. Sales are actually up everywhere in the world for us, and I think most people you talk to, they're up everywhere except for China, of course. And so it's probably partly because I think Australia is pretty big in retail stores in wine, but in restaurants we're maybe not quite as strong. And so restaurants, a lot of the places in the world have been obviously in lockdown a lot, and people have been buying a bit more in retail. So it's been a really good thing for Australia. But and being the last few years being down a lot, we needed a big year just to balance that up. But China will have a big impact on demand, supply and demand, and grape prices are probably going to come tumbling down, unfortunately, a fair bit further this coming vintage. But it was they started coming down last year a bit. Reds came down 5% roughly, but whites went up 11 and 14% for Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc because everyone's been sitting at home drinking more white wine. So they're actually been going up in prices last year, and I think that's not going to change because really China didn't drink any white, so the world's still wanting Australian white.
Well, that's good news. And Chester Osborne, we always say thank you for joining us, Chief Winemaker there of the Darrenberg Wines and, of course, the Darrenberg Cube, which is such a great South Australian icon. Thanks, Chester. There we go. He might have just taken off there. It is great news, though, isn't it?
Especially here for us in South Australia.
Any primary producers, whether it's wheat and barley or whether it's grapes or anything we do here in South Australia, when the weather aligns and it just enables them to sort of build up a bank. And he mentioned about the last couple of years haven't been great. It's just so good. It's
dependent on the seasons, though, and very rarely does every season align. You know, you might get perfect conditions in the winter and the rainfall you need, but then these heat waves in summer, and that can really impact the taste of the fruit. But sounds like it's this unicorn vintage. Can't wait to try it.
Yep, indeed. We're going to take a break. Going to come back with Fuel Watch next, trying to find you some place to buy some cheap fuel.
Well, getting out and exploring the great outdoors is something, but the right products can make it kick-ass. I'm with the man behind the brand, Clayton Sheehan. I hear the fridges are the best.
I guess that comes from the fact that I've been selling fridges for 14 years, listening to customers' feedback, and I've put every single piece of feedback into our 75-litre kick-ass fridges, from inbuilt Anderson plugs, everybody hates bad connections, our cover, there's not just one big lid, it's two separate parts, it's a dual zone, it's got Bluetooth, it's even got USB so you can charge your phone, or a cigarette socket so you can plug a kick-ass food sealer in. It's not just about buying a fridge, it's about buying the full kick-ass solution.
Thank you, Clayton. You can check out the kick-ass products range available exclusively at australiandirect.com.au.
This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Partly cloudy and 16 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
FIVEaa Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. PhysioExtra.com.
Life could become COVID normal by November the 2nd. New data suggests there'll be enough vaccine doses on offer by then to protect 80% of the eligible population. COVID normal is about achieving herd immunity, which will lead us to travel reopening and the end of lockdowns. Australia is giving Indonesia a helping hand to battle COVID in the form of 2.5 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Testing kits and ventilators will also be shipped over. It's part of a $12 million support package. Sydney is bracing for a surge in coronavirus cases today. The New South Wales Premier has warned there will be a spike in infections when the latest numbers are announced this morning, and restrictions could be tightened further. Health officials believe the Delta strain is moving between households, particularly in the city's southwest. There's a push for state and federal governments to better protect customers whose travel plans are cancelled by COVID. Consumer group Choice has found more than half of those whose plans were cancelled waited more than 3 months for a resolution, and not all were given refunds. Erin Turner from Choice says some got no compensation at all.
The rules for cancellations with travel, they lead to really inconsistent outcomes. One person might get a refund, but another person's terms and conditions might mean they get nothing. We want standard rules. So it's clear when you get a refund. If you get a credit, there's minimum standards.
People living in the outer north will now have access to the My Home Hospital program. It's being expanded to include the Gawler Health Service area and will be available to provide treatment for a wider range of conditions. Health Minister Stephen Wade says the program is helping ease pressure on EDs.
Since January, My Home Hospital has provided hospital-level care into people's homes to more than 580 patients. About 1 in 5 of the patients have been residents of residential aged care facilities. So for them to get the care they need without being disrupted and needing to transfer to a hospital is great for the patient and it's great for the hospital network.
International company NewMed Pharmaceuticals is going to call Adelaide its Australian home. They'll set up a manufacturing facility next to Parafield Airport. 40 million units of tablets, liquids and creams will be produced here. 250 jobs will be created during construction and 180 permanent positions. 3 people are in hospital after a stabbing at Greenacres. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says they were called to Weissel Street just before 8:30 last night.
When police arrived, they located one man with a stab wound to his back and another man and woman also with some injuries. But they've all been taken to hospital for treatment, all non-life-threatening.
The average Australian household is throwing out almost $1,000 worth of food every year. As Nine's Gabrielle Hodson reports, beef, bread, cheese and salads are the most likely to be tossed.
The Fight Food Waste Cooperative Research Centre has studied the fridges and wheelie bins of Australia and tapped into why we throw out an average of 219 kilos of food a year. Not surprisingly, families with young children threw out the most. People over 75 were the best at identifying and using the oldest ingredients first. Researchers say it's a skill that needs to be passed on to the younger generation. They've also found many consumers fail to read food storage instructions. The report suggests snapping a shelfie on your phone so you know exactly what you have at home before you shop.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
And there is a big game of footy tonight, Tom Wren.
Huge, isn't it, Mel? And there's 2 changes for Port Adelaide ahead of tonight's blockbuster clash against Melbourne. Zach Butters and Tom Cleary are back in the team while Ben Brown returns for Melbourne. The Crows and Essendon will name their sides tonight. That's ahead of tomorrow night's match at Marvel Stadium. Defender Brodie Smith telling Timmy G they're confident they can get the win.
Yeah, no doubt. We think the Bombers are gettable and our midfield's going really well at the moment, so I think we can get on top of them there and get the ball forward and, hopefully Big Tex down there. We can kick plenty of goals and hopefully get over the line.
Tim Zhu is calling out the world's best super welterweight boxers after making short work of Steve Spark in Newcastle. He won in the 3rd round and says he's making the division his own.
For myself, I've got one objective in my mind, is to take whoever possible out that's in front of me.
Audio there thanks to Fox Sports. Well, history has been made as Australia's flag bearers for the Tokyo Olympics are announced. Basketball star Paddy Mills is the first ever Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander to receive the prestigious honour. He'll be joined by swimming gold medalist Kate Campbell. Team boss Ian Chesterman has told Today they'll do the nation proud.
There's only been 23 Australians who have done that in the past. They've become number 24 and 25. So it's a big thing for them. And I think they'll do a great job for Australia.
England is through to the Euro final after winning 2-1 against Denmark in extra time, and Roger Federer may have played his final match at Wimbledon after going down in straight sets in his quarter-final clash overnight. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Northfield, there are changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road for the intersection upgrade. Take note of the signage there. Crayford's got speed restrictions on the freeway. They still apply for works in both directions. Busy on the drive-in too. Gulfview Heights, McIntyre Road, Bridge Road to Golden Way. That's inbound. And North Adelaide, Park Terrace pretty busy this morning. That's Hawker Street, Port Road. That's as you're heading towards Hindmarsh. It's the final days of Amart Furniture's mid-year clearance. Save up to 50% off selected bedroom and mattresses in-store and online. Don't miss out. Shop at Amart today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Partly cloudy today, 16. Tomorrow much the same, 15. 17 on Saturday. Right now it's 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
It's easy to remember QBE for CTP.
Yeah, QBE for CTP.
But we've made it even easier.
How? QBE for CTP is easy as.
You could get a $25 e-gift card when you...
Pick QBE for CTP. Awesome.
Go to qbe4ctp.com.au to get your $25 e-gift card. Easy. QBE, there for you before and after.
Offer ends July 31. Terms apply, like 12-month car rego selected premium classes only. Insurance issued by QBE Insurance Australia Limited.
You might think it's hard to get excited about shelving. If you do, you haven't met David Penberthy. Or you haven't talked about Sharman Shelving.
Now is the perfect time to get in touch with the great people at Sharman Shelving and get your workshop fitted out.
From workbenches, shelving, cabinets, tool trolleys, open angle shelving, stainless steel benches, steel cupboards. Do you want me to keep going? This is like that bit in Forrest Gump.
Keep going.
Even van and cool room shelving. Sharman Shelving can literally do anything, including made to measure.
You didn't mention garden shelving, Will. I'm the proud owner of that wonderful garden.
I knew you would.
Yeah, I was going to get it in there. Now, look, jump onto their website and take a look. Visit their Facebook page. You'll be blown away with what the team at Sharman Shelving can make.
So if you're in business, Sharman Shelving should be your first go-to for a workshop fit-out. Ask Christine or Bill for a free measure and quote. Jump online at sharmanshelving.com.au or call into 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Is that one there? No. Oh, found one. Maybe not. Small car hiding behind the big ones. Oh, are they leaving? No, they're getting their bags out the back. I'll just do one more lap.
The worst part about shopping is you usually spend more time looking for a park than in the shops. Not at Newton Central. With access to over 500 car parks, you'll never have to do one more lap of the parking lot before you shop. Newton Central, Gorge Road, Newton.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
I'm delighted to announce the flag bearers for the Australian Olympic team for Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games are Kate Campbell and Paddy Mills.
Oh, there you go. What an announcement last night. Former Olympian, now Channel 7 presenter, Matt Shervington. He was part of the announcement last night and he's been good enough to give us some of his time. Matt, welcome to the show.
Morning, Mark. Morning, Amelia. Yeah, it was a really nice announcement last night, and I think a representation of so many demographics across Australia and people that are not just supportive of the games themselves, but athletes as well, were so responsive to this decision. And I think Kate Campbell, the grand old dame, I say that in the nicest possible way, of the swim team, she's on her fourth Olympic campaign, and she has a host of gold medals already. She's a world champion, and she's just such a mature leader of that team now. And then Paddy Mills, what a choice that is. The first ever Indigenous athlete to carry the flag into the opening ceremony. And he just is a world ambassador for Australia. He's such a good person. He is obviously a champion at what he does, being an NBA championship winner. And then also, beyond all of that, the two of them have both got their work cut out in regards to what they're going to do out on the actual competition venue.
Now, Chevo, obviously quite impressive too. Dual Aussie flag bearers too. It's quite unique.
It is unique. It's a first time. Well, it's a second time technically, because in 1980 we also had two flag bearers, although those flag bearers carried the Australian and the Olympic flag together as a stand of solidarity. It was a year that 1980 the American team boycotted those Olympic Games, so they wanted to show a sense of solidarity there. But it is the first ever time that we have a male and a female walking out both with the Australian flag. So great representation for Australia and a great representation for what it is in the Olympic movement at the moment, and it is a prerequisite now of the IOC to have two flag bearers. So it's a nice thing, and I think there couldn't have been two better choices. Although Ian Chesterman, and we heard him there, he had a very tough decision because there are some champion athletes on this team, you know, the likes of Jess Fox, of course, Kyle Chalmers. There are so many big names on this team, but I think he chose well.
Yeah. Hey, Shervo, tell us about the feeling that's starting to be generated now as we get closer to Tokyo, because it has been disjointed. Of course, it's been put off and now it's back on, and there's discussion around crowd. How is the group feeling?
And even just quickly, Bix, I'll just jump in. Watching the announcement last night, we had it live during 7 News. You could, not everyone was even together. It was almost like a Teams meeting. It's been a pretty disjointed build-up, but I suppose, Shervo, the feeling's all the same.
Yeah, 100%, and you nailed it. Everyone was all over the place last night, although most of them were with their own respective sports, which was nice to see, and they were in the Australian uniform, and there was some unity there. But you're right. I mean, these athletes are going to have to face challenges, are going to have to clear hurdles, pardon the pun, right up until they reach the start line, because even last night we spoke to Stephen Solomon, who was a finalist in the 400 metres at the 2012 London Games. He's locked down in Sydney right now and only has access to his training facility, the training track, for 2 hours a day. So you're talking about days out. So we're 15 days away from the Olympics starting, and we've still got athletes that are restricted in their ability to train day by day. So, look, they have done a brilliant job. As an Australian athlete from the past, I'm so proud of this team and the way that they have navigated the last 12 to 14 months. And not just that, but they've posted world-class times. They've posted world-leading times and done it with such style and humility. And I'm so proud of them already, but I think we'll see a real response when they do get to the Games. They'll be hardened, they'll be ready, they'll be prepared for anything. And I do believe that this is going to be one of our most successful teams because we're going to have a spread of medals across so many different sports. We've got a couple of new sports as well in surfing and BMX freestyle and skateboarding that we're very good at.
So with all that in mind, you look at, say, 8 gold over Rio and London compared with, say, 14 and 17 over Beijing and Athens. You think this is the Olympics team we've got to really go out there and get some medals?
Yeah, look, the AOC has been really staunch on not putting expectations on actual numbers. But, look, I mean, personally, talking to the athletes and seeing the results roll in over the last 12 months, and we don't know exactly what's going to or who's going to turn up at the Tokyo Games, and we're not going to know what sort of preparation they have. But I'll just give you a little example of some of the challenges that many athletes around the world have had. So the Japanese 4x100 metre relay team who won silver in Rio, they have not had a training session together until the last month since the 2019 World Championship.
Wow.
So you're talking about a world-class team that was hoping to win gold, having not even been together. They're the challenges that, we're unsure about, what the results are going to be. But I do think that Australia is in a very good position. Our ability to navigate the pandemic has given us a chance to still train, compete at a domestic level, and I think we've done that really, really well and allowed our athletes the opportunity to do that. And again, I think we will see medals in sports that we probably don't expect. Karate's another one that's new. Softball's coming back, and the Aussie spirit has a really good legacy of performing well at the Olympics.
That'll be exciting
Games.
to watch.
They're already in Tokyo. So, I think we're going to do well. I'm not going to put a number on it, but if we can reclaim that top 5 position on the medal tally, which we kind of got used to after the Sydney Olympic Games in 2004, hopefully we can get back there.
Yeah, that'd be great. Hey, Shervo, just a quick one. You touched on it before about how proud you were of the Aussie athletes. When the Olympics roll around, it must just take you back there. And how does it make you feel to have been part of what is such an unbelievable movement?
Well, the interesting thing this year, and I don't know if it's because last year we had the 20th anniversary of the 2000 Games, and this is, the extra kind of year beyond that. But I think there's a lot of athletes on this team that were inspired by those 2000 Games. A lot of them are posting photos of them attending. A lot of them are saying, I looked up to Kathy Freeman, et cetera, et cetera. And we have a chance to host again in 2032. And if we can do that, I think we'll see the same response. These athletes will be the inspiration for the next generation.
Now, Chevo, while we've got you, I'm just going to get you on something else. You ran the 100 metres, obviously. You know the feeling of working your guts out for years for, you know, a really short period of time, a 10-second race. What's your take on US runner Sha'Carri Richardson, you know, 1 month out from the Games and she's been banned from the Olympics for smoking cannabis?
Yeah, look, I feel for her situation. She lost her biological mother. She was in a dark place. She's admitted that. I really respect that she came out and apologised immediately and said, I did the wrong thing. And she did. Rules are rules. Joe Biden said it in a press conference the other day. Rules are rules. She broke those rules. Unfortunately, the ban is a month, and it's a bad month to be banned. She misses out on running the 100 metres, which she was a favourite to win. So it is what it is, and until the rules are changed, she broke them.
Matt Shevington, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to seeing you on 7 during the telecast of the Olympics.
Very exciting, Chevo. Thanks.
Thanks for having me, guys.
There you go. Matt Shevington, former Olympian himself. He'll be part of that cool team.
I love hearing his knowledge on that too. He's
been out there. He's been in big finals all around the world. So we can't wait to hear from Matt. We're going to check the traffic now. After 55 years, people know and trust Mannix. Call SA's biggest home air conditioning and solar specialist today.
At Northfield, there are changed traffic conditions on the intersection of Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road for the intersection upgrade. Crafers, speed restrictions on the freeway, they still apply for works in both directions there. Busy on the drive-in, Golfview Heights, McIntyre Road, Bridge Road to Golden Way inbound. And at West Richmond, Marion Road's carrying a fair bit of traffic today. That's past Moore Street to Sir Donald Bradman Drive. Cameras on the drive-in this morning, East Terrace, Henley Beach and Frederick Road at Grange. After 50 years, ITP know how to maximise your tax refund. With 10 locations across Adelaide, book an appointment today at itp.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
I'm Georgie Dent, Executive Director of The Parenthood, a community of over 72,000 parents and carers. Every day, families tell me that Australia's early learning and childcare system is outdated and too expensive. It prevents women from getting back into the workforce and kids are missing out. National Cabinet is meeting and childcare is on the agenda. Tell them we need a high-quality, affordable, universal system at thriveby5.org.au.
Authorised by Mindiru Foundation, Perth.
Finally, you can get back to the Lion. Get back to long lunches with friends, workmates and business partners. And we've got something you'll want to come back to the Lion for. Our dining room special 2-course lunch package with a glass of wine for just $55.
Back to the Lion.
Head to lionhotel.com.au for more information. Get back to the Lion lunch menu filled with all your favourites. Get back to where you belong. The Lion, North Adelaide.
Well, want more horsepower over spring? Then you'll be excited to hear the Bend have just released their spring motorsport calendar filled with exciting new and returning events.
Kicking off with the Adelaide Classic Motoring Festival from August 28 to September 6, featuring some of the most exotic sports cars and historic F1 cars, celebrating Malala's 60th anniversary and finishing at the Bend for a festival of motorsport.
Yeah, this is the big one. The Australian Superbike Championship returns from September 24 to 26. It's a clash of the titans on two wheels, hitting speeds of over 300 kilometres per hour.
Followed by a new GT Festival from October 15 to 17, showcasing some of the most exciting GT cars on the planet.
And that's not even everything. For the full calendar of events or to buy tickets, visit theben.com.au.
Peter Shearer Menswear is the brand with the brands. For more than 50 years, our experience has put us ahead of the latest fashion trends, always. As the largest independently owned menswear brand in South Australia, we will match any genuine price on identical items, always. But most importantly, our staff are helpful, honest and understand all body shapes are unique. The Peter Shearer Menswear commitment to ensuring customer satisfaction means we give right and honest advice, always. Peter Shearer Menswear, Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker and online.
How do you make the experience of buying a new Mazda even better? You choose Mawson Lakes Mazda and get your perfect pick. Mawson Lakes Mazda has a huge range in stock right now, so you can get the perfect model and the perfect colour. And will you get a good deal at Mawson Lakes Mazda too? Come in and see their demo deal clearance prices. All the models, all the colours. The only limit is time. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Start at Sip and Save and get snuggly in style this winter because Cooper's Ugly Jumpers are back. Simply buy any 3 cases of participating Cooper's beer and redeem your ugly jumper in store. There are 3 designs to collect, but be quick. These Cooper's Ugly Jumpers are exclusive to Sip and Save and are only available while stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Go to sipandsave.com.au for details. Get your very own 2021 Cooper's Ugly Jumper when you start at Sip and Save.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
FIVEaa Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning, 8 minutes to 9. Let's check the fuel prices. If you want to see where the cheapest fuel is in an instant with the free FIVEaa app, you can download it today. There's worrying signs. The fuel prices are pretty cheap. We've got a Telstra store, Mount Barker Tech, saying it's from Bill saying it's up to $1.70 they've been seen around town this morning. But the cheapest petrol you'll find is at Costco at Kilburn, where it's $1.27. Otherwise, you'll be paying in the $1.30s, as we mentioned. $1.31 most servos down Port Road. $1.33 at the North Adelaide Caltex on O'Connell Street. $1.35 at the Caltex Woolies on Shepherd's Hill Road in Blackwood, and $1.39 along the parade at Norwood. So maybe that is a precursor. You might want to fuel your car up today. It's been coming down steadily, but $1.70, that's obscene.
Better than, $2, as Bill suggested it could get to. And Bix, I feel like you're somewhat of an expert in terms of petrol prices. You love to shop around. That's always the advice. Do you reckon it'd get to $2?
I would hope not. Oh, you would.
Gosh.
God, it seems outlandish.
Remember
really.
the days when that was under $1? God.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's too long ago. But the FIVEaa app that is very, very helpful. It's live reading, so it's not like you get there and the price has changed. It is updated live. As this man is alive and well, and that is Graham Goodings. He's sitting next to me. How are you, Graham? What are we talking about today?
I'm good, thanks, Amelia. Good morning to you all. Anyone who's looked at renting a property over recent times knows exactly what we're facing. We have the unenviable.
Easy for you to say.
Not really. We are up there with Melbourne now. It costs as much to rent a property in Adelaide as it does in Melbourne.
Good grief.
We'll look at that. How much food do you waste? The statistics are alarming. It appears that the average household throws away 219 kilograms of good food every year. That amounts to almost $1,000 a person.
That's interesting because our kids came home from school, did the war on waste, so we ended up with a little compost bucket, under the sink and doing all those type of things. And we were blown away of how much, when you separate it, is
we
quite
empty our
substantial.
Compost bucket more than we would empty the rubbish bin now. Yeah.
It's a good habit to get into, but the figures are alarming, the amount of food that is wasted. Consumer Group Choice has asked federal and state governments to fix Australia's travel cancellation chaos. And one of the most remarkable stories of survival in the bush, it's the tale of David James Jones, better known as the Possum. He was a man who lived a life of solitude along the banks of the Murray from the Great Depression, 1928, until the early 80s.
Wow.
And this morning I'm going to talk to a man who was one of the few who had personal contact with him. It's a remarkable story. That and a lot more. And I'm actually going to speak to my son.
I was going to preempt you about that. You picked him up, did you, last night?
Picked him up from the airport last night. Face masks at 20 paces. Left his car. Your car's over there, Will. He's gone into voluntary isolation, but hopefully there'll be news this morning that means he and a lot of other people won't be locked up for much longer.
Yeah, well, we'll keep a close eye on that, and as soon as, I'm sure, if there's any news comes out,
11 o'clock, it looks like the Transition Committee will announce it.
Over it. Graham Goodings there joining us each morning after 9 a.m, which has been great over the last couple of weeks. Righto, time to check out Behind Closed Doors. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed,
$13.95. Adelaide's FIVEaa. This is the Saturday Sports Show. KG and Cornsey.
Yes, and welcome back to the program, folks, with me, KG, and David Wildy. How are you, Wills? I'm good, KG. Almost time to go. We can take another call. Yes, let's take a call, Wills. 8223 0000 is the number. What's that? 8223 0000. That's the number. Why are you saying it like that? Like what? Well, say it again for me. Well, 8223 0000. No, say the whole thing. 8223 0000 is the number. Say that. 8223 0000. That's the number. Gee, it's exciting the way you do it, KG. Well, I am excited to have people ring us, Will, because 8223 0000 is the number. Actually, we've talked too long now. We haven't got time for another call. Oh, well, what's the point of me wasting my energy saying 8223 0000 is the number? Well, no point really. We've got to go, KG. Well, Wills, but before we go, I want to thank you, Wills, for filling in for Studley over the last few weeks. It's been a pleasure to work with you, Wills, and thanks very much, Wills. Thank you, Wills. That's all right, KGS. Cornsy's back next Saturday. Yeah, Studley will be back, and you can call us when he's back, folks, on the Saturday Sports Show on 8223 0000. Is that the number, Cage? Yes, well, that's the number. Right, but it has been great having you here, Wills. I'm sure we'll catch up sometime. I'm sure we'll see each other during the week in the corridors here, and it's great to work with you, and it's been a pleasure to work with you. I'm seeing you tomorrow, KG. What do you mean? We're doing the Showdown cricket tomorrow at Adelaide Oval. Oh, well, you could have told me that before I launched into my heartfelt thank you routine. Now I have to do it again tomorrow. No, you won't, KG. No one cares. Are we taking calls tomorrow, Wills? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Oh, well, that's a shame. I was going to tell people to give us a call, and that 8223 0000 will be the number.
He's been doing it a long time, Ken, and he's got into those unique idiosyncrasies.
Some good tips for the weather report for 7 News tonight. Or maybe I might have to adopt it in that way.
No, why not? We're going to take a break. Be back very shortly.
Up to 50% off King mattresses and ensembles now at Harvey Norman. That's right. Bigger the size, bigger the deal on selected Australian-made mattresses and ensembles. Up to 30% off double, up to 40% off queen, and up to 50% off King mattresses and ensembles. Our range includes the best names in Australian-made mattresses, from Sealy Posturepedic, King Coil by AH Beard, Sleepmaker and Beauty Rest. Up to 50% off King mattresses and ensembles. Bigger the size, bigger the deal on selected Australian-made mattresses and ensembles, in-store only. Now at Harvey Norman.
When people walk through the doors at Pals, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Want to learn to be the boss?
Change the system.
Blaze the trail.
Want to turn your passion into pay?
Ever dreamed of solving the problem?
Helping community.
Setting the trends.
The time to take this course begins today.
At Torrens University Australia, we can transform passion into careers that bring the best out of you.
Find a course that fits you perfectly and follow your heart.
Do what you love.
And love what you do.
Search Torrens University Australia.
5AA Breakfast with Amelia Mulcahy and Mark Bickley.
Good morning, everyone. We are 1 minute to 9. We're just about to sign off. Amelia, it's been great again. Where you headed today?
Can't tell you.
Can't tell you.
Got to watch 7 News at 6. Hey, we've had a great text from Ian at Morfett Vale come in on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. Oh, no, I've got room for this. And he said, "Hey, Amelia, did you hear Bick say he was on the sports show a little earlier?"
Yeah.
I actually missed that, but I'm very pleased that I've impressed you with my sports knowledge, and you could possibly think that I could be on a sports show.
It was more to do with Ken Cunningham, like that. Old habits die hard, and having said that for 6 years, it somewhere was deep in my brain. Anyway,
I'm going to take it as a compliment, Bix. Thank you.
All right, it's right on 9 o'clock. We'll be back again tomorrow. Thanks for joining us today.